Good afternoon and welcome to sunny Worcester Sixway Stadium here for this afternoon's BUCS Premiership Final. If you were here earlier on with us, you would have witnessed the University of Nottingham students beating the UWE Bullets by a score of 43-0, rather one-sided affair. But at the end of the fixture, well, it was all Nottingham really. Before we go on with today's game, we'd just like to mention that here at Onside Productions, we do rely heavily on the teams that we cover, providing us with the information for us to produce as professional a stream as we can. It allows us to give insight into players, into histories, into stats, etc., etc. And without the help from teams, we are struggling, to say at the least, to get a really great production over. But with that said, we've got two teams here this afternoon, one of which who have been very forthcoming with all the information, and as such, I know we're in for a great game here this afternoon. I'm Matt Walker, and I'm joined by
Rose Wilford.
Good afternoon, Rose.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Good. So before we crack on with this afternoon's Premiership final, just a brief recap about the Div 1 final. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to show you a little highlights package here. So if you don't want to know what happened, look away now. Oh, apologies. I'm told that we've not got that right now, but I know later on, if you do watch this back on YouTube, we will be having a package put together at a later date. So anyway, as a result of that game, Nottingham started off, and when you look at it in the opening quarter, the opening kickoff went out of bounds. They had a number of penalties at the beginning of that their first defensive drive, and you kind of thought that the Bullets had got the ascendancy.
Yeah, I mean, it was an odd game. There was some sort of possessions with UE where you thought, oh, they might do it, they might get a score here, but overall, Nottingham dominated the field. You know, they did extremely well. They played like athletes, and they were the better team on the day.
I think the Nottingham defensive line particularly didn't give the quarterback for UWE any time, and unfortunately to run in the game he ended up leaving the game hurt. But I think that was the real difference, that dominance up front from the Nottingham defence. Yeah,
definitely, and I think as well as the defence, obviously their offence, they've got their QB, Tamworth
Pat
Phoenix
Daly,
QB,
that's right, yeah.
And then they've got some really strong running backs. The running back that was, you know, the person that scored, was it 4 touchdowns?
Yeah,
I think 3 touchdowns and scored an extra 2 points. Got the MVP of the game, and he was absolutely on fire for the entire time.
Absolutely. So that was the starter really to this afternoon's proceedings. Basically now we need to turn our attention to the Premiership final, and this afternoon that game will be the Derby Braves taking on the Durham Saints. So these two teams have met already in the regular season.
Yes, twice, yeah.
And that decision went to?
That went to Durham. So both games have been, you know, quite good close matchups, but Durham have been the successful team, I should say, each time. So I think this one, it will be a matter of who's going to play better on the day, but hopefully we'll have a closer game than the other one.
Absolutely. Durham obviously returning to the final again after losing out to the Stirling Klansmen last year, to maintain back-to-back seasons where you are getting to a championship final is no mean feat, and obviously from a squad point of view they do have a larger squad size in terms of numbers compared to Durham.
They do, yeah. I mean, Derby, we've got 4 main scholars that we're going to be looking out for today: Taylor Brown, Curtis Cannon, Troy Jackson, who's the quarterback, and Kieran Watts. And then I think on top of that, they've also got some UK players that are quite strong athletes. So Tolu at number 3, he's the running back. Addo, number 75, he's the rookie D lineman. Those are 2 people that I've been told to keep an eye on because they could be, you know, game changers.
Absolutely. So as is tradition with us here at Onside, we managed to catch up with at least one of the coaches before the game, and that was the Derby head coach. Good afternoon, coach.
Good afternoon. I'm well, thank you, sir. I'm well.
Nice to see you. Lovely afternoon here in Worcester.
Never a bad day for football, right?
No, never a bad day. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. This season been obviously successful, otherwise we wouldn't be here. What were the keys to success this year?
Unity, belief, I think. When I came at Christmas, they hadn't won.
No.
And so how we turned it around really was is letting them know that when they worked, well, the question I asked is, do you have an S on your chest? And none of them said no. Each other, yeah. So I'm about some personal adversities I've had to overcome, and so that's what it is: believe and overcome, and that's been our key message really.
And on the back of that, what are you most looking forward to about this afternoon?
The win.
Short and simple.
Quite simply, you know.
Love
Like I said before, you know, we haven't got individual egos. There aren't people there that need their ego feeding.
No.
But there is a team ego. And that might sound a bit cliche, but that's the truth of it. Okay. You know, they all play for each other.
Are the Braves built around any particular unit? Offense, defense, special teams, or?
We haven't got the numbers to do that.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So this is why I talk about they play for each other. So a man goes down, it is literally next man up, and they jump in, and they give their all in whatever unit's on. We've had to tidy some things up.
Okay.
You know, some disciplines that weren't there that should have been.
Sure.
You know, for a kickoff, for example. But now that's been rectified. But yeah, so it really is about, because we're undersized, we're undermanned. I think we've only got like 26-man runs roster, something like that. So you can't afford to have specialists for specialist units. Everyone's got to muck in.
I ask this question to every coach, and I pretty much get the same answer. How have you prepared for this afternoon's game? Any different to how you would do during the season?
No. For us, really, it's just another day in the office. You know, again, it's like I said, it's not personal, it's just business. You know, Derby Braves' personal or team motto, if you like, is one team, one goal. And our goal was the championship. And we are that step closer. And so really, we've met Durham before. We know their strong points, we know what they're about. You know, they are a good, physical, aggressive football team. They fly around after the ball. So do we.
You've already gazumped my next question in a way about the Saints. Played them twice.
Twice now, yeah.
Come out with 2 close victories.
Yeah.
Are the keys to today's victory the same as the first 2, or is it slightly different?
Well, it's going to be different. We're going to win. So, you know, there were close games before. You know, like a couple of fluke plays at a block punt and they ran it back. You know, so we lost by a couple of points. Okay. But they didn't want us. They didn't want us. You know, they wanted someone else, and the reason being is because we are brave by name and brave by nature. We are a good quality team, and we're going to demonstrate that right now.
As a coach, what do you look for in a player that plays under you? What are the attributes you're key on?
Selflessness, willing to learn, and I think it's key. How do you coach someone if they're not prepared to learn? You know, and the thing is, you know, the thing about uni ball is what I call microwave football. Yeah. The guys turn up at freshers and 20 days later they're on the park.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, in senior football, they turn up in January, they're not on the park until April. And of course, you know, it's about keeping them safe. But they then have to understand they may not get a lot of time in the first year and accept that. You know, and they're working towards the second year. This is where the selflessness comes in. You know, it's about the team. They aren't bigger than the team, and there's no way that we'd accept that.
And finally, what can we expect to see from the Braves on the field this afternoon?
Oh, lots of heart. Lots of heart. We're tenacious, and we just keep going. Yeah. Just keep going. You know, I mean, like our win last week wasn't until late in the fourth quarter. You know, and that tells you something.
It does indeed. Well, thank you ever so much for your time this afternoon and sparing the time with us.
No
I wish you all the very
all.
best, and all being well, get a catch up after the game.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Take care.
So, head coach there, Bernie, lovely man, really just spent so much time with us this afternoon talking about tenacity, talking about his players just keeping going. And I think we've seen, in a way, the first game this afternoon, it was difficult for the Bullets to do that, but there was an element of once Nottingham got so far ahead, it was difficult for them just to keep going. Yeah,
but I think with any game, it's sort of important for the team to not give up themselves, because I think a lot of the time if they're giving up and, you know, have lost hope, they're defeating themselves before they've been actually defeated by the opposition. So I think definitely with this game, Derby and Durham both need to, you know, play to the final whistle and just take everything that they've got and take it into the field. Absolutely. The sharp-eyed amongst you will have noticed we have multiplied into 5. We're joined by 3 guests this afternoon once again. We've got Andrew Morgan from the Birmingham Lions, we've got Phil Dumont from the OBU Panthers, and we've got Joe Walker, part of football, American football development in the UK. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi there, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Obviously, before we turn our attention to the Derby Durham game, thoughts on that first game? If viewers that were with us beforehand, we had a certain score prediction from you guys. I think Phil went with the Bullets. It was Joe. Sorry, Joe went with the Bullets, and you two guys were very much on the side of the Nottingham outfit. So, just talk us through your thoughts. First of all, Andrew, thoughts about that first game?
I didn't expect it to be as much of a blowout as it was. I did wonder if we would be able to put some stuff together on offense, but too many drop passes, too many penalties, and they wanted to run the ball. They were out physical in the middle, and that kind of it just all kind of snowballed, and they weren't able to bring that back in the second half. Talking to Coach Mayer after the game, a lot of what he was saying to his team, who were going to be the same team that come back next year, is that's your message. You've got to get in the gym. You've got to be a little bit more prepared coming into next year, because that's the level that you need to be at in the Premiership.
And from a Nottingham perspective, okay, they've won their final this afternoon, Phil, 43-0. How much of that today, almost like towards half-time and then into the third period, how much of that was today's game, but then a message to Premiership teams next year?
If I was a Premiership team next year, I'd be quite concerned about playing Nottingham, because they're not losing many ball players. Their turnover is going to be quite small this year, and they got a great coaching staff. They got a very smart coaching staff. And at the end of the day, it's not what you got, who you have as your players, is what you do with your players.
Absolutely. And Joe, I think Andrew touched on it, but for us up in the commentary booth, I think it almost seemed that the offensive line were pretty much undersized against that defensive front for the University of Nottingham team. Is that how things sort of played out to you?
I'm not sure if size was the factor, but I think speed was definitely a big factor, and particularly getting out of the stances was something that Nottingham did really, really quickly, and took advantage maybe a less of a mobile offensive line from UE. The big kids, that they're not a small offensive line particularly, but I think that Nottingham front was really rather fast, and could bit of misdirection stuff with that fire zone defense style stuff, doing stuff. Ben Davies has done an incredible job with that defense in his first year as a defensive coordinator, after having such a good game here in last year's Premiership final for the adults.
Sure.
So I think it was speed. I think that the speed of the game was just the difference between the North and South team.
And so often, and open to any of you really, so often in any sport, when you make that jump to the next division up, it's hard to sustain that. And we saw that a couple of years back with the NTU Renegades, who sort of rebounded up and down once or twice. What have Nottingham got to do to enable them to maintain their sort of status in the Premiership?
I think the first thing they'll need to do is keep recruiting and keep going. And I mean, it's always been referred to as an arms race in the North, and I mean, you're going to watch it here. There are 6 Americans on the Derby side. There's double-figure Americans on the Durham side. It's about how well you can recruit, who you can get in, and bolster your squad that way. That's going to be the first thing, and Nottingham are going to be in a great place to do that.
Yeah, and then also just keeping hold of the talent that they've currently got, and being able to replace the talent that they lose. So they might not be losing many players, but if you're losing Patrick Daly out of your programme, you are going to be taking a step down, potentially at quarterback. I think that might be an issue for them. But to win up in the Premiership, all you've got to do is stay up, win a couple of games, and that's all you need to really achieve.
I did get the opportunity to speak with the Nottingham head coach at the end of that game, and he said, the fact that their backup quarterback got some game time today, he said he's more than ready to take on that role. And I think given that he's got the summer to prepare for the Premiership, by September, October time when the season starts, I think they'll be more than ready.
I think also with your more veteran players, when you recruit the younger players, it's down to the veteran players to mentor the younger guys and instill the team ethos into them and the work ethic, so they can ramp up very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's turn our attention to the main event this afternoon, Durham Derby. What really, for viewers out there, if they were with it for that first game, what's the difference? What are we going to see in terms of a difference of a spectacle, if you like, between that Div 1 and the Premiership?
I think just from the most simple thing, you're going to have 2 QBs who are very experienced, they're very confident in their offences, and they're going to fling the ball around a lot. And
sorry to jump in right now, because we've got obviously for Derby, we've got Troy Jackson, and I believe we've probably got some information on the screen. Troy Jackson, basically, here we go. So 6'2", 15 TDs, 5 picks on the season, basically 62 out of 103, so just about above 55%ish.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, and the thing is, he has a very hands-on approach with the offense. He does a lot of the calling of the plays in the huddle, and that makes it really hard to game plan for him, because you might see something the week or two previously, but he's coming up with stuff on the fly. He's got a great feel for the game, and his connection with Kieran Watts, as Rose mentioned earlier, it's always going to be a challenge to defend that.
I think though with this game coming up, I think we'll see better execution. I think we'll see less what we saw in the previous game, where UWE had a hard time executing. I think we'll see more individual effort in this game, more standout players.
Okay.
performing.
I know that both head coaches from this game had an interview with Podium last night, and it was a live stream on Facebook, and I believe that the Durham head coach said they're not making mistakes. They're not making the mistakes of, the centre snapping it over the quarterback's head, and just simple errors like that can affect the game so drastically. If they are so strict and they're not making these mistakes, then this is going to be a really good game.
Absolutely. And I mean, sorry to jump in, we watched Durham play Stirling last year,
Sure.
and Durham were affected last year by the fact that their QB wasn't able to play, and that reduced what they could do offensively, whereas now they have a lot more consistency. Yes, they haven't played a game in a few weeks because of the snow and all the complications that came with that, but they're going to have a lot more of an expansive playbook to work with today.
I think what's really interesting for me is that there's a really good story in and around this game, and I think that's something that that if people are watching as a casual view at home and don't know very much about the teams, would be quite interesting for them. Derby came back from an 0-3 start with a different head coach, changed to head coaching due to the departure of Noel Cassar, and went almost completely perfect in the second half of the season. They have got some very talented football players. They've played some very, very challenging games. They came in the first half of the year within 6 yards of beating Durham the first time around, and that could be very, very interesting for for people to watch. One player that I do know about on Derby is their right tackle, a kid called Sam Parks, is a converted wide receiver tight end.
Wow.
Who has not been playing right tackle until midway through this year. They lost their right tackle. He stepped up to play and has been a starter since then, and has done some absolutely amazing work. So if you're an offensive line aficionado and you like offensive line play, then here's somebody to watch. They've been through the ringer with the playoffs. They've had to go through a Birmingham team who are very, very strong. They've had to go through another playoff game as well against Stirling, and Durham haven't, which is interesting to me. And I think the fairy tale story here would be, can Derby go through all of that and pull something out today, which would be interesting.
Yeah, especially after having lost already to the Durham team twice this season. Technically, they played them 3 times, with the first game being called for an injury. So I think if they can do it, it will be something truly magical.
Interestingly, a lot of the Derby players, if you're thinking about Troy and Kieran and Taylor, they also know each other very well due to the fact that they all play for the Leicester Falcons during the summer. And I know when we were with the Caesars with Onside last year, we covered one of the Caesars Leicester game, and they were a dominant force, that trio.
Exactly. When the ball's in hand, it's extremely hard for people to get near them, and they're going to play on defence as well. Kieran's going to play corner, Taylor's going to play at safety, and they're not going to give away too much in terms of the big play, which is going to match up great against Durham. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth there. They've got 2 Americans on the D-line. They've got a middle linebacker who really just works the game and communicates and disrupts a lot going on there as well. So they're going to have a lot of potential to stop Durham on their offense.
Now, speaking to Coach earlier on, he did mention about the fact that numbers and squad size is significantly in Durham's favour. He was suggesting he had a smaller squad, and therefore he's looking for heart and that tenacity that he spoke about in the interview. Do you think that will play a part in this afternoon in terms of the numbers?
Well, if you start getting a couple of pulled muscles here and there, take a couple of knocks, that small squad, although the tenacity is going to be whittled down to absolutely nothing in no time at all. So having a small squad sometimes isn't the greatest of all things. You want to make sure that your depth chart is fairly resound.
Absolutely. It's not just about your starting 22. It's like, if you've got a squad of 30, what do your other 8 people bring to the table? Are they going to be able to play? Are they going to be able to contribute? That will be the question if that comes around.
Yeah, I think what these guys have said is probably completely correct there. What you don't want to be doing is losing those key Americans in this game, because then you're going to be putting in some potentially less experienced football players on the field who, if either of those football coaching staffs are smart, they'll just straight away start picking on those kids, I think. So it's whether or not you can stay healthy. I think that's a really big thing. And the other thing is, we might see the quality of the play go down as well as people get more tired as the game goes on, especially if both teams are playing people both ways, which I'll expect to see a lot of.
The one thing I noticed last year at this point, when we watched the Division 1 game and then we watched the Premiership game, I think we watched Leeds Beckett last year, and then we watched Stirling and Durham, and just the physical size, the difference in the sort of physical specimens between Div 1 and Prem. Yeah. Now, that in one way, seeing Nottingham play today, didn't seem to be that much of a difference, which will almost suggest that Nottingham might be a bit more Prem ready than maybe the Div 1 teams sometimes are.
Oh, absolutely. Nottingham, I don't think have had, unfortunately for them, I don't think they've had a very competitive game all year, and they would have probably been able to have been very competitive in the Premiership as well, and it just makes a difference if you can commit a team to the strength and conditioning and everything else around it. Then that makes a difference, and it's just that visual difference that then applies on the field as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that intimidation factor plays quite a lot. I mean, if you walk out there and half your size of your team is 6'5" or bigger, like 22 stone, they're massive, they're hitting hard, you are going to feel that real quick.
And I definitely think that comparing the two teams that we're about to see to UE when they were warming up, I mean, you can see it straight away. You can see when they come out on the field that they've got big guys that are playing in key positions. Like, they are going to dominate that position. So I think it all depends on who they're lining up against. If you can match them size for size, then you're not going to have any issues. But I think at the same time, they also need to be matching on athleticism.
Absolutely.
I think the coaching is different as well as both programs. If you went back and watched those podium interviews, that Jonathan Rooney is really about being a football coach, and I think that's something he takes a lot of pride in. Whereas Bernie Hackshaw has been around the sport for much longer time, maybe not in a head coaching role, and he was much more zen about how he was approaching the game and about how his team was approaching the game.
Absolutely.
I think that's an interesting thing to look at.
Sure.
Rose, you did mention about the size of the UWE guys, but then the two tackles on the offensive line, they didn't move very well.
No.
And Nottingham figured that out real quick and were able to get around the outside and actually smothered the UWE quarterback from the outside in. So just because you got the size, you need that athleticism to go along with that.
Yeah, and I think as well, whichever team is, got the stronger person when you're lining up against someone, they will read your weaknesses, especially if you show them that easily.
Absolutely. So we are 5 minutes away from the scheduled kickoff time, although neither team are yet to take the field. And obviously we've got coin toss and we've got national anthems as well. But it's that part of the show again. We'll go to Joe first, seeing as he got it so wrong last time.
Cheers.
So predictions. You've got to give me a score. You've got to give me a score this time. I'm not having any of this not a Derby by 2 scores or what. I need a score.
Full score.
I need a full score.
As somebody who played at Derby and coached Derby for 3 years, I've got to pick Derby. I think it'd be unfortunate for me to pick Durham, but I think it could be very, very close. And I think something along the lines of 23-21. Something like that will be the game that we're looking for.
Now, I know your mic's not overly great there, but that was a 23-21 to Derby from Joe, okay? 23-21 Derby.
26-18 to Derby.
26-18 Derby, and...
Well, man, I know how you feel sitting on the fence. I'm right on the fence on this one. I think Durham should win it. I think that the quality of players that they have, I think if they come away with a loss here, it's going to be extremely disappointing. So I'm going to go Durham 27-20.
27-20. So you heard it here first. We're going to take a short break, come back for the coin toss very shortly. Thank you to our guests. We'll see you guys at half-time again with Rose, and look forward to the first half, which will be with us very shortly.
If you want to keep doublecoverage.com alive and contribute to its ongoing mission to grow the game of American football in the UK, then please go check out patreon.com/DBLcoverage. Become part of the Britball Nation and gain access to exclusive content and rewards by becoming a patron of DC. We want to take our coverage of the British game to a whole new level, but we can only do so with your support. Go to patreon.com/DBLcoverage and join us in growing the game of American football in the UK.
I'm Mark Brunell. I'm the quarterback coach here at the Academy. Having a great time. It's been an absolute thrill. Their energy, their passion for the game has been impressive, actually surprising.
The coaches here are really, really incredible. Like, they're really smart. You know what you're talking about. Like, you think you got everything right, and they'll pick out something that's wrong, and you think, I didn't see that there, but they had the eye for it because they've been there, done it before, and it's really amazing to be part of that.
Coaches are really accommodating, really knowledgeable as well, really good at helping people to get to where they want to.
Yeah, we're seeing some improvement. We're seeing a lot of engagement, a lot of excitement about the game here, and we're really thrilled about the reception we've received.
So once again, welcome up to the commentary booth today at a very sunny Sixways Stadium here on the first day of British summertime. Welcome, George, once again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Obviously, again, in our pre-game show there, two of the guests picking Derby for this one. One guest a little bit on the fence, picking Durham. Mainly because of the fact that Durham have met Derby twice already this season and already have 2 wins against them. What are your feelings on this one this afternoon?
You'd be a brave man to pick against Durham, but as we said earlier, Braves have become known as giant slayers, and particularly after that winter break and that winter turnaround, I think it's anyone's game.
I think the first thing that strikes me, as I know it did for you when I just came up to the booth just then, is the numbers game. I mentioned it in the pre-game about the fact that Derby have a very small squad in terms of actual physical numbers. I think Coach Hackshaw said about 26 on their roster today, whereas Durham significantly more.
Yeah,
we're going, John. Come ready for the kickoff.
Not many more, but they have got more numbers. Having said that, Leeds Beckett won their Division 1 final last year with 26, or around that mark. So it can be done. These guys are used to playing both ways. They've played both ways all season long. I know you guys mentioned Kieran Watts down there, fantastic player. Taylor Brown, who he plays both ways. Jack Verling, another player that's done well in the British game, so they've got every chance.
And the link with those guys are they're used to playing with each other during the summer as well.
Yeah. As for Troy Lee Jackson as well. So, they're used to playing both ways. They've got the fitness levels to do so. Just have to see what they can bring to the fight.
So we're just about to get underway here at Sixways in Worcester. As always, get in touch with us if you're able to this afternoon. Use the hashtag UniBowl. We will read out any messages we can. Let us know where you're at. So hashtag UniBowl. Let us know you're enjoying the game and that you're with us. Tell us who you're supporting, whether it's the Durham Saints or the Derby Braves. Derby Braves will be going from right to left as we look here in our commentary position. They will be receiving the opening kickoff, and therefore we will see Troy Jackson and his offense very soon. So here we go. The National Championship University Final just about to get underway, and we're off, and it's a line drive which bounces. It bounces inside the 5-yard line, comes off the feet,
Jack Verling,
and then goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
That is not a good spot to be starting in. So we will see if the Braves have it in them to drive a full 99 yards to put the first points on the board, or at least in field goal range.
Well, the first thing on their agenda will be to get a first down and get out of the shadow of their own goalposts. And for Troy Jackson and his offense, they definitely have the capabilities, but looking at that defensive line for the Durham Saints, that is a mountainous wall that they have to negotiate initially.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just nerves perhaps got to Verling there, and it's not typically where you'd see the ball after a kickoff.
So Jackson under centre, and I think under centre just to try and get a bit of breathing space, because you don't often see quarterbacks under centre now in the university level.
Yeah, just trying to sneak the ball up a few yards just to give himself some breathing room.
So a pickup of 3, and that's pretty good on first down. I mean, if you can do that, do 3 or 4 each play, then you're pretty much moving the chains every time. Here we go again. This time Jackson does drop back into a more familiar shotgun formation. 2 backs, 1 either side of him, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, and he drops back looking to pass, but he actually hands the ball off on a bit of a inside zone run.
Handoff looked a little slow there, actually. It was, I think they picked up a couple of yards there.
That was Curtis Cannon on that initial run. So it'll be 3rd and 5. Now, from a confidence point of view, if Derby can pick up this first down here, that not only will boost their confidence and sustain their drive, but it'll also get that Durham defense thinking and vitally keep them on the field.
Durham playing with 2 safeties.
Very low safeties though, as Jackson drops back to pass. He's got a man on the sideline and it's incomplete.
It's Kieran Watt that he was looking for, who was just taken out a ball boy.
So that initial Derby drive being pinned on their only 1 yard line stalls after 3 plays. And to be fair from Jackson, that was a tad out of Watts' reach.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it here on the replay, it was the right read. Watts came open and it was just inches, but as we've said, it is a game of inches.
So here we go then, backed up in his own end zone. First time punting today is that man, Taylor Brown. We mentioned him earlier on.
Punter, receiver, DB,
does it all.
Back.
Oh, a low snap, gets the ball away, and it's a good kick. Is it a good kick? No, it's spiraled. It's gone over my commentary position, and therefore I couldn't really see it as it sailed above the roof of where we're standing. And Durham immediately will be in a really promising position. 25 yards away from pay dirt and their first offensive drive.
See what the Braves can do on defense, and see what Durham can bring on that offense.
As you've mentioned there, number 21, Kieran Watts, remains on the field, playing DB. The punter remains on the field, Taylor Brown, playing safety. And here come the Durham Saints for their first possession of the afternoon. Ball's handed off, up the middle, and that's met immediately.
Devin Anderson with the run there for the Saints.
And Gogo Labama with the stop. So you can see immediately that defensive line stays firm, and he bounces off his blocker and makes the tackle. So a gain of 1 on the play. 2nd and 8 for the Saints. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Ball is this time nice fast feet. It's a well delivered ball, but it's out of the reach of Jacob Schotten.
Eric Poindexter playing quarterback for the Durham Saints, had plenty of time in the pocket then.
And what you notice there about the Durham quarterback, real fast feet moving all the time, going through his reads, and as a result did have his man but just slightly underthrew for his first pass attempt.
Yeah, it makes it much easier when you've got that much time in the pocket. He could have had a fry up as well while he was waiting to release that ball.
3rd and 8 upcoming. Poindexter again, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. He's looking to pitch it, and that looks like a lateral, which is going to actually go out of bounds. Oh, they're calling it an incomplete pass.
Yeah, it was Devin Anderson that it was looking for. It did seem to go backwards.
Let's have a on the replay. Let's see. It's going to be difficult to see from the angle of the shot, but I'm not so sure. I think they're very much benefit of the doubt given by that sideline official over there.
That'll be 4th down, so they've picked up all of 3 yards so far. Well, they will go for it on 4th.
And to be fair, no reason not to really. It's a substantial field goal from this range early in the game. I think this is the right decision at this level. So 4th down, Poindexter drops back. He has his man over the mid. Oh, and it's almost intercepted. No flags on the play, and that's a great stand-in. Who was the man breaking it up?
Taylor Brown there. Read that to perfection. He was either going to annihilate the man or pick that ball off.
If we can pick this up, just look at the speed. Once he sees that ball being delivered, Brown is in like a rocket.
Yeah, he really baits the quarterback there.
Real shining example of safety play there from Brown.
And that looks like Derby's number 75 on the floor, and that's that man Gogo Limbama.
And the medics are at work straight away.
Yeah, it looks like another knee injury, potentially. I mean, this surface, if you've walked on it, it takes some getting used to. It's a little bit, well, slick's probably the wrong word, but it's quick moving. You do tend to slide, and you know, perhaps it plays a little bit of havoc and ups that injury rate.
Unfortunately, maybe just needed a bit of air because he's running off like he's just about to run some Olympic event, so he doesn't look too distressed by that incident. He's gone off much quicker than the medics anyway. So here we go then, Derby's 2nd possession in a little bit better field position than their initial drive. It'll be 1st down, Braves on their own 25-yard line. So Jackson with trips to his left this time. One back to his right, and another single receiver, and the ball's handed off. And he goes round the left edge, but he's met immediately. That's James Spicer with the tackle. And Ogundana, the ball carrier. So a loss of 1 on the play will bring up 2nd down. In fact, maybe loss of 2, maybe 2nd and 12. Watts jogs out here, but Watts seems to be moving a little gingerly on that right leg.
Yeah, he took a knock when he ran into the ball boy and took the ball boy out.
Oh, surely that's not going to keep him
from
performing. Trips to the right this time. Sorry, twins to the right. 2 backs in the backfield, either side of Jackson, and Jackson drops back, and he's got plenty of time again. He swings the ball out to an open receiver, and he's got his man, and he's number 85 there.
It's Luke Alex with that reception.
And he's tackled immediately, though, on the play by the Durham defender.
It was a beautifully thrown pass, right on point. Alex brings it in well.
Plenty of highlights this season for the Derby Braves. Kieran Watts this season, 30 catches, 700 yards and 6 TDs. Jack Verlin, 14 catches, 350 yards and 3 TDs to add to his stat line.
That's a hell of an average, that is.
As on 3rd and 4, Jackson has trips to the right this time. It's handed off, and it is Taylor again. Taylor this time looks like he's picked up the 1st down, and that man can do it all.
Yeah, phenomenal athlete, and you saw it more so on that defensive play that he made from the safety position earlier on. Absolutely baited the guy and hit hard, but he runs hard as well with the ball in hand.
Spun out of that 1st tackle, and obviously yards after contact vital in any form of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And managed to spin out of that 1st tackle and get the first down for either team for the afternoon.
Body blows to the defense.
Taylor Brown, 35 rush attempts, 750 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. Some pretty good stats. We mentioned in commentary, 15 touchdowns through the air for Jackson as Brown gets the ball again up the middle. And he's met initially by Alex Atia, number 74 for Durham. So again, 2nd and long upcoming. little tidbit for you. Apparently, according to our research, Kieran Watts thinks he has the best British accent. He's actually from the southern states of America. So he thinks he has the best British accent when in all reality, apparently it's awful. In fact, as a matter of fact, according to our researcher, it doesn't matter what accent he does, as Jackson flips it to Brown, and Brown is in a whole heap of trouble this time, as he's met by a gang of Saints defenders, first of which was Robert Daigle. That play was doomed before it even began, with Daigle there, number 18. In fact, that's Ewan Cormack reading that play really well, number 18 for Durham.
Yeah, I mean, that was really nice outside containment there. So far from what we've seen, Durham have really stuffed the running game of the Braves. They've picked up a couple of yards at a time. But the passing game seems almost wide open.
So 3rd and long now, make it 3rd and 14, maybe 15. And that looks like
I think it may well be an infraction in equipment.
Delay against the offence. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
So delay of game for the offence there.
There were points at the defence, but
our referee this afternoon is Tim Ockenden, with his crew of Dave Parsons, Graham Coleman, Jed Brooks-Lewis, Amir Brooks, Daniel Holt, Ewan Patterson and Alan Dobson, all making the journey to Worcester for this Premiership final. As Jackson takes the snap again, he looks over the middle, and that one could be intercepted, but it's been called incomplete as the ball has been deemed to have hit the floor.
yeah, it was Durham's Cody Daniels there that looked like he got the grab, and I thought from here that he had. Just see if you pick it up on this replay.
Very close.
I would almost argue that he'd pick that off.
So 4th down upcoming anyway, and at the moment communication between Jackson and his receivers seems a little off.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Durham can.
Previous play is under video review.
Interesting, our first video review of the afternoon. Now,
it's a fairly new thing too. Well, not to the league. I think it's always been in the rules, but utilised in the senior finals last year, and obviously being utilised again today.
So the officials will be going down to the booth, or our booth officials will be looking at this to try and get as clear a view as possible.
I would think this may get turned over.
So at this point, at this interlude, I want to bring you a few bits and bobs of information about how this stream is being brought to you today. So, our stream this afternoon is made possible thanks to the ongoing support of Joe and his team at epsports.co.uk. EP Sports stocks the largest range of American football kit and equipment in the UK, and have a staff made up of ballers who have all played, some at the highest levels in Europe. So when they're talking to you about the kit and offering advice, they really know what they're talking about. If you're looking to upgrade your gear ahead of the summer seasons, check out epsports.co.uk and use the discount code UAGloves15.
After further review, call on the field stands.
There we go.
Incomplete pass. Be 4th down.
So, just to finish that off, use that discount code of UAGloves15 to receive a 15% discount on all Under Armour gloves.
I'm a little surprised actually. I wasn't convinced it hit the ground.
So let's see if Brown can get away a slightly better punt than he did first time, as it's 4th and about 20. Goes to his right, he manages to find a gap and does position that ball beautifully. It takes a fantastic Derby bounce, and it's downed by Emmanuel Denai Matsokatia, and Durham will take over for their second possession.
Yeah, a lot of pressure came through the line there on Taylor Brown. Had to make a step to the right before he swung.
This stream this afternoon also brought to you by ScoreStream. Both for this game and for all the games throughout the summer seasons, you can stay up to date with all the scores across the Brit Bowl nation. ScoreStream is the worldwide leader. ScoreStream even. I keep saying ScoreStream. ScoreStream is the worldwide leader in coverage of American
why don't
football.
you go for Starscream? Other Transformers are available.
From youth through professional across the globe, each week ScoreStream covers roughly 10,000 games. No mean feat. And they're on this one today as Durham, and the quarterback manages to evade the outside rush. And there is a flag in the backfield, which may mean this one's coming back for holding, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, Derby unlucky there not to make the tackle. Number 81 for the Braves that came off the edge, Kurt Davey.
Holding. Offence number 66. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Poindexter managing to squeeze out.
And Poindexter showed a good change of direction there to elude that edge rusher there. I tell you what, Kieran Watts, 21, is a big dude to be playing DB, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I think he, he's a relatively big receiver in British football standards. But
and I think he's wearing like junior pants.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's been.
Poindexter anyway, with a man in motion, and Poindexter keeps the ball and is taken down in the backfield. He may well have picked up half a yard. They're very close.
Yeah, it was Price Stuper with the tackle, 43 for the Braves. Yeah, I think Watts may have been done over by the translation between the UK and US clothing sizes. But no, he's a big guy, and you can see why Jackson likes to throw to him when he's playing at receiver. He's got a real big radius to throw into.
So talking, we've mentioned him so often already, but talking about Taylor Brown. Taylor Brown on defense had 65 tackles, 4 for a loss, 1 sack, 5 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries.
And that's from safety.
And that for any, it's number 75 there for Derby. Gogo Labama again just blows that play up before it's even had a chance to begin. So going back to Taylor, for any regular defensive player, that stat line would be pretty impressive, but to say he's playing on both sides of the ball as well.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. It's an incredible feat. But, it shows how fit some of these American athletes actually are.
So 3rd down and an absolute mile for Durham. Got some fantastic information we've received this afternoon from the Derby Braves, and we'll be bringing bits and bobs to you as Poindexter does manage to connect with his receiver this time, and he finds Jacob Shotton.
Yeah, he's going to come up a few yards short, but what a great throw.
Again, fast feet again in the pocket. You can see this with a quality quarterback. You can basically see how those feet are always moving. So he's always chopping those feet, chopping, sets them, steps into his throw, and just Shotton finds the zone in that Braves defense. But 4th down upcoming. This Braves defense, a little bit of a different proposition than the Bullets defense, so you would think that the Saints, as they do, will punt it away, and it slices another punt sliced off the outside of the boot. And Derby will take over with their best field position of the afternoon. It'll be 1st down, Derby on their own 34-yard line. So anything we do, here is our first tweet of the Prem afternoon. Team Tate, out great to watch my old Wooden Warriors right-hand man and my buddy Danny Ketch coaching for the Durham Saints. I remember Coach Tate from when we first started with the season. We started flag football early days, and we went up to Woodham and played some games up there, and they were always got the better of the Nottingham Seas at that point, but it was a good education in how to run a program. So nice to know you're watching, Coach Tate.
Showing your age there.
I know. Jackson rolls to his right, puts the ball up, and just manages to get it away before he is decked by Joseph Partington for Durham.
Yeah, Partington came off his block really well. Straight through.
Straight up the middle. So yeah, any information we do pass on to you today has come directly from the team. So we're not making things up. But obviously stuff that the team
sometimes we make things
are happy to share. But we've got to start looking at some of these nicknames in the minute the Derby have sent us.
Yeah, that's when we start making things up.
No. Oh
Yeah.
no.
But when we get onto it.
We get onto it. But anyway, 2nd and 10 Derby. Bunch formation, trips to the right, and this time the ball is handed off.
Oh, and that was a monster hit.
Ogundana on the carry, and he got his legs chopped away from him completely. I love this one. Shall we tell him about Kieran?
Well, to be fair to the guy, I would say the same.
Yeah, but Kieran, by all accounts, from the stuff we've got, he seems to be getting a lot of stick about his talents with accents. Apparently, when we've asked about nicknames and bits and bobs or interests, apparently he's a big Harry Potter fan, and allegedly, and I say allegedly, has a bit of a crush on Emma Watson, which, like you say, can't argue with that.
I'm with Kieran on that one. I mean,
so 3rd and 8, and there's a flag, which can only really be a delay of game at that stage. Mouthpiece, I think.
Delay against the offence, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Convinced our referee pointed towards the mouthpiece when he was letting the Braves know what that was all about.
It's difficult in this sort of environment. You've obviously got not quite a packed stadium, but you've got some noise. I think there's some hooters going, and usually they've got an official going behind them with a time check, and it's difficult to hear over that noise. There isn't a clock on the stadium, a play call clock.
There's a flag. This is a free play for Jackson, and Jackson goes upstairs, and he has a man, but it might be underthrown, and it's actually picked off. So Jackson did know that there was an offside coming. So that, although it was a very athletic play by the Durham DB, Tom Hartley, that will be coming back for encroachment by the Saints defensive line.
Offside against the defensive right end. It's a 5-yard penalty. And replay 3rd down.
So, going back to these nicknames, Troy Jackson's nickname? Grandpa. Why is Troy Jackson's nickname Grandpa?
Because he's nearly 30 years old.
He's, what, 31?
Oh, there you go.
31 just.
We've just seen another Saints fan all the way in Johannesburg. So getting a global audience.
Absolutely,
once again.
good stuff. So Troy Grandpa Jackson, once again on 3rd and 8. More manageable after the encroachment penalty. Similar formation, bunch to the right, he drops back and there's pressure coming. There's a little screen set up, and that's a nice executed play, and Taylor has it, but Taylor is dragged down before he picks up the 1st down by James Spicer, number 23 for the Saints.
Yeah, that was a nice screen actually. Taylor well hidden amongst the offensive line there. Whether it was intentionally or his line didn't just get up quick enough, but picked up a nice little gain there. They're gonna punt it away here though on 4th.
Taylor will have the ball in his hands again as he punts away. Back deep to receive is Robert Daigle for the Saints. So, coming towards the end of the 1st period already, George, and we still have a 0-0 scoreline. And Brown's looking to run it, and he may well have the distance, and he does pick up 1st down yardage. What a brave call from the Braves that is.
Yeah, I don't know if that was an intentional call, to be honest. I think Brown saw the opportunity. The pressure here comes through on that edge there. If he tries to punt it and he gets blocked, it's going backwards. He's the last man. He sees it, he makes the step, and he goes. And he took. That's what you get with experienced players. They see the opportunities, and a lot of them, if they're good enough, can weigh the risk up very, very quickly in the head. And away you go, and it keeps Derby's drive alive. Got 15 seconds on the.
I think that's right. I think that may well be
the quarter
the 1st period.
But Derby will maintain it going into the 2nd.
And I think you're right. Football's smart. It's all very, very well being fast. It's very well being big. It's very well having great hands.
Expired in the 1st quarter.
but football's smart. So actually dissect a play and know when a play that has been designed isn't going to work, and have the quick thinking ability to react and make something out of nothing. That's exactly what Brown did there, which just shows you why he's so valuable.
Yeah, I was speaking to Stuart Andrews before the game, who's one of the Birmingham Lions coaches, and discussed the quarter-final game, and he said really the way the Derby won was they shut down Birmingham's offense, and it was 2 big plays, but you know, often one was a deep throw, but often you see plays like that break for huge gains.
Well, at first glance here, this is going to be another tight one, as the meetings have been. Durham have been able to pull away in most games in the fourth quarter as Jackson drops back and hits his man, and he ducks out of a tackle beautifully.
Yeah, it looks like 22 was the recipient of that pass, Curtis Cannon.
Almost felt that, knew that tackle was going to come over the top of him.
You could hear it from the commentary box when they actually made contact.
The way he caught that ball and ducked, he knew that that tackle was coming over the top, and he managed to gain out another 3 or 4 yards after initial contact. I love talking to Coach Hackshaw at the beginning, the philosophy, and when we asked our researchers about greatest success on the field, on and off the field, our greatest success has been, that's a great catch there.
Curtis Cannon again on the sideline.
It is, great catch for a first down. Coach was mentioning about the fact the greatest success has been sticking together as a family and proving the doubters wrong. Great athletic grab there on the sideline, Coach.
Yeah, wonderful grab. Looked it in with his eyes all the way.
So, first down again, Derby. And at the moment, Derby seem to be in the ascendancy, if there is any at this game at the moment.
Oh, and that's been...
You'd have thought it had been blown. Look at the strength. The strength from Ogundana there. Took 3 or 4 men to bring him down, even though he did lose yardage.
I mean, he's a smaller framed running back, but he just kept his feet moving. I know, he, like you say, he didn't go forward, but given the opportunity, he could do some damage. But Durham did very, very well to contain him there.
First quarter stats coming in. Obviously, not been a great deal of offense. 19 yards total for the Saints, 26 yards total for the Braves. So still really to get things going, just finding their way, feeling each other out a little bit. 2nd and 13. Trips to the right for Jackson. 1 man in the backfield. Picks up the blitz again. He has a man.
Yes, Jack Verling there on the catch.
And Durham do seem to be willing to give up those short 6-7 yard hook plays and just not get beaten deep. That bend but don't break philosophy.
Well, one of the things with Durham is they don't tend to give a lot of yards after the catch. They're very, very quick to swarm. You see there at the end of that replay, 3 players were on Verling by the time he'd been pushed out of bounds, and that was within half a second. And that may well be a false start on Derby.
1 step forward.
2 steps back.
Indeed.
Well, 5 yards back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Already penalties becoming a factor in this one. First quarter, 15 penalty yards against the Saints.
That was Sam Parks there with the penalty against him.
10 penalty yards against the Braves.
Playing offensive line, but he was on the All-DC junior team at receiver last year for Merseyside.
So, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. Let's see if this play can be positive for the Braves. 3rd and 8. Ball on the 39-yard line of the Saints. Jackson takes a snap again. He's got pressure. Puts a nice ball out there, and it is caught.
He's caught it, yeah. It looked like 35 going down, Matt Allinson.
Great hands catch, and I know it's a daft thing to say, but that was all hands. No body, no arms. Kept the ball off the ground.
Yeah, he very, very, very nearly dropped it.
Love the way that he caught that ball with his hands and watch his head. You know I bang on about this, but if you can, watch his eye, watch his helmet. You can't really see in that, but his helmet is literally focused on that football, and he manages to snag that ball before falling out of bounds.
Yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful grab. And so they keep plodding on.
Matt Allinson, 4 receptions, 25 yards on the season before that grab. Jackson this time looks to keep it himself after faking the inside handoff. Picks up a couple on first down. Brave man at 31 years old to be running up the middle. But very much with the philosophy of one team, one goal. Coach Hackshaw was telling me before the game, there is no egos to feed, no individual egos to feed on this Brave squad, just a team ego to win. And every man is more than prepared to do his bit to make that come to fruition.
Yeah, they've done well so far.
2nd and 8. Inside handoff again, and that's Ogundana again. And Ogundana again isn't brought down by the first man.
Yeah, Durham doing a very good job there containing that run.
Isaiah Pinson, number 8, on the tackle. So another 3rd and long situation, which so far the Braves have been quite effective at converting.
Hear the battle horns blowing from across the stadium. Not very well, but
sounds like the old Vuvuzelas. I know there's a pretty strong Derby contingent over there in the stand as Jackson signals timeout just before he plays that 3rd down play.
But we're not that far away from Derby, really, are we? So.
Timeout. Goodbye, Derby. They're first at 7:07.
So the ethos of the Derby Braves. We, not me. This year for us was one of many ups and downs. We lost our head coach after the first half of the season, went through a transition of taking what we had left and making the best of it. Those 6 weeks we made a coaching change and completely turned this season around. The motto became one team, one goal, and no matter what, we're going to overcome. And I think there's nobody who displays that more than Coach Hackshaw, who is a cancer survivor. I know he won't mind you knowing that, and he was battling cancer last year and fought it off, and I think that the team all know that he's an absolute warrior, and as a result the team are dedicating this game to Coach Hackshaw, but also a fellow member of the Braves community, Holly Drew, who unfortunately and sadly passed away this week. So they very much do have that family ethos, that we, not I mentality. So 3rd down and 8 with Jackson and the Braves offense coming back on the field. Ogundana alongside Jackson switches to his left-hand side. Kieran Watts out wide to the right. Jack Verlin wide to the left, but a very tight formation, so you'd think they'd be going to corners here, although the seam's down the middle. And guess who?
Mr. Brown.
Taylor Brown with the 1st down reception, a beautifully threaded pass by Jackson. And just this knowledge of playing with each other throughout the season, in the Brit Ball community as well. Beautifully threaded with 2 defenders trailing on him, still manages to make the grab and fall plenty enough forward for the 1st down.
Yeah, and as you say, these guys have been playing together for a few years now, on back-to-back seasons. So this is certainly, I suppose, the 3rd season that they've played in the last 18 months.
And for those who aren't familiar with Coach Hackshaw, he's been involved in the game for a long, long time in this country. As Brown takes the handoff again and is snagged down behind the line of scrimmage this time. A little bit of afters. Brown was down a long time there, and some Saints players ended up coming in over the top. But yeah, so Coach Hackshaw joined his first league team in 1981 and played all the way till 3 years ago, 2015. That's a significant career. Played for the Luton Flyers, the Leicester Panthers, the Nottingham Hoods, and I remember going down and watching Bernie play at Harvey Haddon when I was a youngster, watching him play for the Hoods, the Coventry Jets, the Leicester Falcons, represented England, Great Britain on many occasions, and he was on the GB coaching staff as well. And he's got his latest incarnation of his football life here with the Derby Braves, and what a turnaround he's managed to make this season, since Christmas in fact.
Yeah, quite an incredible turnaround for a whole
delay
from where they were at Christmas to be here.
5-yard penalty,
and
remain 2nd down.
That's the 3rd delay that they've been given.
It'll be the same thing, no doubt, as well. Because obviously it's not a time issue. It looks like always being an equipment issue. Along with Coach Hackshaw this afternoon, we've got assistant coach Willis Brookshaw, who you and I both know as well. He's the longest serving team member on the current Derby Braves roster. He started with the Braves as a player in 2002 and started coaching in the second season. Played on both sides of the ball, but mainly as a DB. And he still holds the records for interceptions. And I was fortunate enough to have Coach Brookshaw on my coaching team. When you were playing, was that?
Yeah.
He was, I think, your DB coach at the time?
He was.
So got a lot of time there for Coach Brookshaw. Jackson goes up top looking for a man and just overthrows Verling in the back corner of the end zone. But yeah, so Coach Brookshaw there spent many a happy day with Coach on the sideline when he was helping out with the juniors, Nottingham Caesars juniors, probably about 10 years ago now at least.
No, it can't be that long. I would think maybe 6.
Yeah, you're probably right. Just seems like I've not coached for that long.
Well, you know.
I know. Not on air, thank you. So, 3rd and a long 20. Jackson drops back. He looks like he's going to strike for the end zone again. He goes short and this time Verlin in and out of the hands. And he would have only got back far enough for the original line of scrimmage when they got that first down. And as a result, it's 4th down and Ogundana is having to be restrained. Not happy with some of the behavior from that Saints defense. But are we about to see our first points of the afternoon with around about halfway through the second quarter? Derby will be attempting the first field goal of the afternoon.
It's a decent length kick as well.
Bad snap, the kick is up. Has it got the legs? It's just going to drop short. Just drop short, unfortunately. Number 90 for Derby with the attempted kick, Leighton Pace.
Yeah, it will have been around about a 35, 42-yard field goal attempt there. Certainly a longish attempt.
If nothing else, though, that'll give Derby confidence that they're able to move the ball on this.
Yeah, they did, and they took a lot of time off the clock as well. And for a smaller squad, that's going to be very, very useful, particularly for the defense.
The only concern you do have is the fact that you look at this defense again now, and you see Brown back at the safety position. It's going to be a point where 3 or 4 of them, attrition is bound to tell, no matter how well conditioned you are. As Poindexter hands the ball off, and it's a good positive run on first down for the Saints. No matter how good your condition is, it is going to tell come that late third, middle of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think that's when Durham can really make an impact, particularly with a mobile quarterback running around, such as Poindexter, given that opportunity to go upfield. And we saw earlier today Pat Daly getting wide open and going for a little run.
2nd and 7, maybe 6 for the Saints. This time Poindexter drops back, feet moving again. He's got a man, and Kieran Watts was actually on that coverage, and Jacob Shotton slammed his foot in the ground, turned back, and the cushion then between Watts and Shotton was at least 10 yards.
Yeah, it was a huge cushion there. You just see it in the top left corner of your screen in a second. And that's a good 10-yard, in fact, possibly even 15-yard cushion by the time.
And by the time Shotton caught that ball, Watts was still travelling backwards.
Yeah.
So a fantastic plant in the ground. Little outside hook pattern there for a good pickup. And the Saints are on the move. First down, around about midfield. Ball is handed off. It's Devon Anderson who is stopped just short of the line of scrimmage.
It was Aina with the tackle. A gain of inches there.
So 2nd and 10. You see, you kind of say, well, it'd be good really if the Derby defense could get off the field quickly, but it doesn't really make a difference for 3 or 4 of them. Anyway, 2nd and 10. Poindexter fakes that inside handoff, drops back. He's got a man, and Taylor Brown slips that time as he's trying to make the pick. And then the brave secondary attempt to strip the ball from Daigle.
Yeah, Poindexter may have got lucky there as Taylor Brown sees it and slips on that slide, as you say.
Tried to break on the ball.
Although as quickly as he slipped, he was as quick back on the tackle. So, and again, it's a very slick surface down there, and as you do try and plant, sometimes you do slide.
So still 0-0 here in Worcester. 3 minutes 11 left in the first half. The longer it goes on with the score remaining tied at 0, the more cagey these teams will become, because the scores then become more and more important.
Play was over. Personal foul. Grasping the face mask. Offence number 8. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
And that was on Isaiah Pinson. Offence number 8.
And I think that was who Ogundana was having a bit of an issue with on the last offensive drive.
Yeah, and an ill discipline has put them back 15 yards.
So Ogundana obviously playing both ways. Played on defence for the Saints, and obviously still on the field while the offence are doing their work. Get in touch. We want to hear from you. Hashtag Uniball on the social media. We want to know where you are. We've got people in Florida, Joburg. As the Poindexter goes back, and it's a great leaping grab from Daigle once again.
Yeah, it was Robert Daigle with that grab, and soon after.
Hit us up on Twitter. Hashtag Unibowl. We love hearing from you. Been very quiet this afternoon, so if you can connect with us, I'll tell you what, Poindexter stood in the pocket very well.
Blocking the passer. Defense number 26. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
And that's Simeon Okonta Wariso, guilty of that personal foul penalty. So now knocking on the door on the 22-yard line. First down, Saints. Unibo, good to hear my old PE teacher on the commentary. Good afternoon, Reese.
Didn't know I was a PE teacher.
No, you weren't. Hashtag Braves. Nice to know you're watching, Reese. And I'm not old. I'm your former PE teacher.
Well,
I was just thinking I need some football, and Uniball reveals itself to me. Super cool, y'all. Oh, my days. Awesome Hog 1. Did I get that right? That y'all right?
Yeah, you did.
Need to talk to Kieran Watts about accents.
Kind of.
Okay. First down, Durham. Ball is handed off, and it's a good, powerful run. Steps out of 2 tackles, does Anderson, and picks up 7, maybe 8 yards. So 2nd and 2, just outside the 10-yard line. Poindexter with Anderson, and Poindexter looks to pitch, but then takes it up himself, and he's got a lane up the middle, gets inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line, where it'll be 1st and goal, Durham. Good athletic run again, very brave, straight, direct, true, skips out of a tackle.
And that is your 2-minute warning.
This one has flown by.
2-minute warning, 2 minutes remaining in the first half.
So 2 minutes left, still 0-0, and I tell you what, even though it is 0-0, Durham will be receiving the ball in the second half, and a score here could be a real momentum shift and a real confidence boost for the gents in the purple outfits. As Poindexter keeps the ball, and Taylor Brown snags him and drops him behind the 10-yard line.
Yeah, big tackle for a loss there.
I think if there's one man the Derby Brave sideline would have wanted on that tackle, it would have been that man Brown.
Poindexter did well to try and fend him off, but Taylor makes the tackle.
So 2nd and goal from the 11-yard line.
Having said that, it makes it easier for the passing game. in which, as he's lined up in an empty set.
But you know what he can do, because he did this a minute ago, but that's read very, very well by the Derby defensive front.
Yeah, and it's that big man, number 75 again.
Ricky Rick, 66, watching my boy Poindexter tear it up in the Uni Bowl all the way from St. Louis.
Timeouts.
Uni Bowl watching from Malta, Mark Wiswood. Watching, nice to know we've got you on in Malta. Just Donny, big ups to Troy Grandpa Jackson all the way from Maryland. Go Braves.
Nice to see that we've got an international following.
Stephen Myatt? Stephen Myatt, sorry Stephen. Stephen Myatt, 9-6, Uniball. Great physical game. Come on, Derby Braves. One team, one goal. Great to hear from you guys. Nice crowd in here at Six Ways enjoying the first day of British summertime. Ben Hoskins. Good to see my old teammates in the stands. Let's go, boys. A lot of love for the Braves out there today.
A lot of love from Durham as well.
So, 3rd and goal from the 12-yard line. Poindexter, hands off, and Anderson snagged initially, but then he jumps and breaks away. But then a swarm of Braves. What would you call a swarm? Go on, what's a swarm of Braves?
Well, Braves are Native Indians.
Native Americans, yeah. No, that wouldn't be right from our producer. No. They're showing Braveheart.
A war
Mr.
band.
Matthews.
A war band.
A group.
It's not quite got the same ring
No,
to it,
has it really? On the tweet, what is the collective name for a group of Braves? Tweet us in. A Braves of Braves. My producer is talking all his usual nonsense.
Let's see if they can get the snap down.
So, will these be the first points of the afternoon from the Durham Saints? Snap is good, ball is down, kick is up. And that looks to be 3-0 in favour of the Durham Saints.
Now, this seems fairly similar to last year's final. Very, very close game, heading in towards that second half. We've got 55 seconds left on the game clock. But, I believe the game finished 10-9. Was it 10-9 last year? Or within that sort of remit?
It was very, very close.
To Stirling. Derby, at the moment, the smaller squad holding their own. But Durham showing that they are a force to be reckoned with and getting down that field to get the first points of their game.
55 seconds left. Does Coach Hackshaw sort of think to himself, we've done well to hold them out of the end zone there and just see what we can do here with a couple of early runs, or do you go for broke? I suppose it depends really on where your return ends up being, with Taylor Brown and Jack Verlin back deep. Verlin is the man who fields the ball, and he's got a bit of a lane, and he jumps to the outside, and he's still on his feet, and he takes a hit, and the ball pops out, and that's going to be very close, and I think the Durham Saints are going to recover that right on midfield.
It looked like Verling was down, to be fair.
And that's what Coach Hackshaw is screaming.
I would...
replay. Let's see if we can see anything on that replay. Still on his feet, my count for the day is 2.
That's really low.
It is really low.
And I think one of them was me.
I've got to do some work on that. We've got a half of football left to go.
Now, it looked to me like he was down, but...
It looks like we're going to have a challenge of this. Are we going to get a challenge? It looks like the official is coming to the centre of the field. No, it looks like the next play is going to be. Nothing doing. So that play is going to stand.
Are Derby aware that they're able to challenge?
I'm sure I saw Coach Hackshaw say challenge, and he was waved away for whatever reason. So with 44 seconds left.
I thought he was clearly down. I think he's been...
Poindexter drops back with an empty backfield, and he's going up top. He looks over the top, he's looking for Daigle, and in and out of the hands, straight through the bread basket.
Number 32, Dane Matsukatir.
And that really, really should have been taken in for the first turnover of the game.
Well, second turnover. As it's just come off a fumble.
For Derby. 2nd and 10 from midfield. A try, of course. Of course. Thank you, Wilfred Ken. Poindexter drops back. Got Daigle again on the sideline. Caught. Gain of 5. Gets out of bounds. 33 seconds left. Of course, it's a try. How stupid are we? No, don't answer that. Do not tweet and answer with that question.
No, I'm not going to.
No, don't go there either. Thank you. So 33 seconds left. 3-0 the Durham Saints in the ascendancy.
We'd be awful at a pub quiz.
Third and a long 4, maybe even 5 yards for Poindexter and the Saints offense. Drops back to pass. He's got a man, looks over the middle in the seam. And that tribe of Braves meets Isaiah Pinson. Pinson comes from that tight end position, runs down the seam. It's a nicely threaded ball from Poindexter. 4 or 5 Braves try and hold him up to rip the ball out, but to no avail. So it's first down again for Poindexter and the Saints. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Anderson swings out to the left. He swings the ball out to Anderson, and Anderson catches the ball and hits the ground immediately.
Yeah, 43 there. That was Price Stupert. He was the closest Brave to the ball.
Timeout called by Durham. Their third and final with 12 seconds remaining in the half.
So 12 seconds to go, no timeouts left. You'd expect a couple of throws to the end zone from here.
Yeah, with 12 seconds left, 6 seconds of play, they might get 2 opportunities.
To say this has been a low-scoring affair, it's been a very watchable game.
I think both sides have shown a competitive edge. It's been well balanced, and I think that makes for a more interesting game sometimes than blowouts.
So Poindexter with Anderson to his left. Receiver comes in motion. He fakes the pitch to a right. He drops back and he underthrows Pinson.
Yeah.
Who, had he caught that ball, would have literally had to turn and take a step, and he would have been in for 6.
Yeah, Pinson wide open. Brown just tricked out a little bit of that safety spot by the 2 fake handoffs, really. The fake handoff and the fake toss.
So 7 seconds left. Barring a penalty, this may well be the last game play of the half. Loyal always tie. Watching this Unibowl all the way from the US. Shout out to number 1, Dev Anderson. Dev Anderson currently in the game, playing halfback for the Saints, lining up to the right of Poindexter. And it's 3rd down. Poindexter slips as he throws, and it's picked off. And it's picked off, and he's got a seam if he can get past, but he can't. But that will be the end of the first period.
It was Josh Fagan with the catch. Actually, on that throw, if we get a chance to look at the replay here, Poindexter, he just trips off that, just clips heels, I think, and goes off balance, and it just doesn't go where he wants it to go.
So when we talk about momentum, the difference between Durham maybe coming away with more points, but now Derby actually having got that takeaway, that could be significant going into that second half.
Yeah, I mean, for Derby's defence so far, I think they'll be happy, but Durham going in at 3-0, I think Durham will be disappointed actually with their performance first half, although their defence has played very, very well.
So the score here at 6 ways in the Premiership BUCS final currently stands at the Durham Saints 3 and the Derby Braves 0. We'll be back for commentary in the second half, shortly down to Rose and our halftime show, but first this.
If you want to keep doublecoverage.com alive and contribute to its ongoing mission to grow the game of American football in the UK, then please go check out patreon.com/DBLcoverage. Become part of the Britball Nation and gain access to exclusive content and rewards by becoming a patron of DC. We want to take our coverage of the British game to a whole new level, but we can only do so with your support. Go to patreon.com/DBLcoverage and join us in growing the game of American football in the UK.
I'm Mark Brunell. I'm the quarterback coach here at the Academy. Having a great time. It's been an absolute thrill. Their energy, their passion for the game has been impressive, actually surprising.
The coaches here are really incredible. Like, they're really smart. You know what you're talking about. Like, you think you got everything right, and they'll pick out something that's wrong, and you think, I didn't see that there, but they had the eye for it because they've been there, done it before, and it's really amazing to be part of that.
Coaches are really accommodating, really knowledgeable as well, really good at helping people to get to where they want to.
Yeah, we're seeing some improvement. We're seeing a lot of engagement, a lot of excitement about the game here, and we're really thrilled about the reception we've received.
Wow, guys, what a first half of football. 3-0, extremely close. Give me your thoughts.
Defensive battle.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, both offenses have had opportunities to score, haven't taken them. You know, I mean, I think the defenses have been absolutely on fire.
The defenses have stepped up, but what's really important is the number of penalties in this first half at particularly bad times. Derby got hit with three delayed games on one drive, which totally stopped that drive from progressing any further. But saying that, Derby has had a good job of actually converting some first downs from long distances.
The thing is, Derby's run game has been non-existent to start off. Are they into double figures on the rush? Eight rush yards in the first half. So they're having to pass the ball. Durham are doing a great job getting pressure on the quarterback, and it's only been that one long drive that didn't come away with any points that they've had, really.
And the funny thing is that we talked about Americans being the difference makers in this game. The guy who's caught most of those passes for Derby has been Jack Verling, who's ex-GB Students wide receiver, current Leicester Falcon, ex-Northampton Nemesis, and he's really been maybe a bit of a difference maker for them in this game so far. We haven't seen very much of Kyron Watts. We haven't seen much of the other stuff from some of the other Americans that we were expecting to.
Yeah, and I think with Jack, he's had a bit of an unfortunate game, making that fumble just there, which we all thought was a catch. And on the other side of the field also, I think it's been unfortunate, and I think if he'd have been able to get both of those catches and, run with it, he might have potentially, the scoreline could potentially be different.
Yeah, for Durham as well, their safety number 20, I think Spicer, has been having a hell of a game. I think he's a second-year player. He's been flying around everywhere, and there was a speed option out here where he absolutely blew it up. He's having a great game so far. So, yeah, not just the Americans that are doing well for both teams.
So I said though, is I think in the pregame I said it was going to be down to individual effort, and I think individual effort, individual performance is standing out in this game so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at the stats, it is relatively close. You can see that the Saints probably should be winning. So it's 117 total yards against 67 for the Braves, but you've got pass attempts 12, pass completion 7 on both teams. You know, you've got 5 first downs on both teams and 30 penalty yards for Saints, 35 for Braves. I think it is really, really close, and I think it is going to be a matter of whose defense is going to make a mistake first or whose offense is going to make a mistake first.
Yeah, and field position obviously is making a huge start with that as well. If we look at that first kickoff, Derby handled the ball and knocked it out on the 1 yard line, giving themselves a really, really difficult field position to start the game with. I think if they get the field position that they want in the second half, they might have more opportunities to score. You know, we've had one missed kick from Derby and one, a made kick from Durham, so that's the difference maker at the moment.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and with it being so close in the game, and you've had a whole half of play, it's only going to take one big play, one missed assignment, and it just blows it straight open. So it's going to be really interesting to watch in the second half.
I think both coaches will come out in the second half and make their adjustments. I think we'll see a bit more of a wide open game in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got a chance to speak to Derby's head coach.
Yeah, Bernie Hackshaw. Yeah, we had a quick chat just before he went in, and he was a bit lost for words at first. I think he's maybe a bit overcome by the enormity of the game and how much maybe enjoyment he's having. I asked him what his plan was to go into the second half, and he said, much like many coaches do, about making less mistakes than the other team is what the key is for him to win this game. And he said that currently they're making more mistakes, and that they want to be making less mistakes in the second half than Durham are. And I think if they can do that, then great. But Bernie was positive going into the half, and I think it's a 3-point game at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great opportunity to be playing the second half, and
he's got every reason to be positive, because I mean the Braves team that have been on the field so far, they have been pretty strong. They've held their own against Durham.
Absolutely, and I think they can continue to do so. The question here is whether or not we've seen Durham be a second half team, during the rest of the season. Will Durham be a second half team today, and will Derby start to wane in the second half?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there's a couple of things for me. I think the first thing, like you said there, Phil, Derby have got to speed it up on offense between play call and snap. They're substituting guys, the QB's communicating with the sideline. They can't be having delay of games. The second thing that's interesting is Durham's number 8 has already been hit with a personal foul. You watch him, he's getting chippy every single play, normally with the 26. So one more of those, and their defensive line all of a sudden is going to be significantly weaker. So a couple of things that we need to watch for.
And interesting, they're keeping him in a lot on pass protection, which is quite interesting. They'll release him, and then at times they're going to keep him in as well. So maybe they're a bit afraid of this Derby rush. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And he was wide open just to finish the half, and then the QB hopped it into him. So that was a wide open touchdown. They had a chance to convert.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting that you've gone up until the last sort of 5 minutes of the game where it's been a 0-0 scoreline, and then it's just the 3 points, field goal. That's what's made the difference. I mean, I definitely think that Durham could have scored on that last play, but 3-0. Who's to know what's going to happen in the second half? Do you guys think that your predictions are still on point, or what do you reckon?
Well, I don't think 27-20 is going to happen. I don't see that happening. But they haven't gone deep very much. I'm so talking about Derby. And I noticed, especially in trips or in pro, they're leaving the single receiver one-on-one, and they haven't really gone to him at all. So I feel like they need to have a look at that. The QB's definitely got the arm for it. With Durham, same again with them, really. They've been working the middle really nicely. They need to make sure they keep going back to that.
I think Derby have struggled to run the ball, obviously, and that's something that they might want to try and establish a little bit more in the second half. But I would expect to see a lot more passing in the second half and a lot more wide open play, which is obviously great for us to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was watching Durham's number 7. They're playing defensive end. He's a speed rush guy, and he doesn't look much for the run. If they can run underneath him, I think Derby will be able to run the football a little bit more. And I've noticed that Derby hasn't been throwing much to their left.
Yeah.
If they can hit someone deep, I think this score is going to be 17-10.
Nice. Well, I think the guys are coming back out onto the field now, so we will probably return after the game, and we'll see what happens in the second half.
Thank you.
If you want to keep doublecoverage.com alive and contribute to its ongoing mission to grow the game of American football in the UK, then please go check out patreon.com/DBL coverage. Become part of the Britball Nation and gain access to exclusive content and rewards by becoming a patron of DC. We want to take our coverage of the British game to a whole new level, but we can only do so with your support. Go to patreon.com/DBL coverage and join us in growing the game of American football in the UK.
I'm Mark Brunell. I'm the quarterback coach here at the Academy. Having a great time. It's been an absolute thrill. Their energy, their passion for the game has been impressive, actually surprising.
The coaches here are really, really incredible. Like, they're really smart. You know what you're talking about. Like, you think you got everything right, and they'll pick out something that's wrong, and you think, I didn't see that there, but they have the eye for it because they've been there, done it before, and it's really amazing to be part of that.
Coaches are really accommodating, really knowledgeable as well, really good at helping people to get to where they want to.
Yeah, we're seeing some improvement. We're seeing a lot of engagement, a lot of excitement about the game here, and we're really thrilled about the reception we've received.
Hello. Welcome back to Six Ways here as we get the second half underway in a matter of minutes. The current score here in Worcester is the Durham Saints 3 and the Derby Braves 0. Really defensive battle in that first half, as we heard from Rose and Joe and Andrew and Coach Demont. So we'll see what the second half has in store for us. A few dark clouds amassing over the Warriors Stadium here at Six Ways, but both teams very much in this one. Things that may play a part in this second half may well be the attrition with that smaller Derby squad, particularly the likes of Brown and Watts, who are playing both ways, offense and defense. Poindexter, quarterback for the Saints, has looked pretty comfortable back there under centre, making some nice passes, only to be picked off right at the death there at the end of that second period. Earlier on today, if you were with us for the early game, the Division 1 final, the University of Nottingham students took on the UWE Bullets. Unfortunately, a little bit of a one-sided affair, with the team from Nottingham running out 43-0 winners over those Bullets from UWE. As always, our stream this afternoon is brought to you in conjunction with BAFA. Special thanks to the British American Football Association and to EP Sports. Make sure you check out epsports.co.uk for the largest range of American football in the UK. At the moment, DP have a fantastic offer on using that code UAGloves15. That will get you 15% off all Under Armour gloves. So we've seen a real defensive battle this afternoon so far here in Worcester. Anybody's game going into the second half. Shortly, we will get this second half underway. You may well have seen some of the VT running in between games. Obviously, hashtags, the Twitter, the social media is all up and running. Katie Stepek, it's actually pretty nice watching this final without caring who wins. Way less stressful than when Sterling is playing.
Friend of mine from up in Scotland.
Oh, okay. What did you make of that first half, George, and where do you think the second half's going to go based on particularly that turnover at the end?
Well, I've just been across speaking to former Braves head coach Noel Kassir, and he's stoked with how they've played so far. It's just a case of getting that offensive working. They've made a few adjustments on the offensive line from what I've overheard walking around.
UOD Lacrosse, let's go at Derby Braves. You can win this championship. Good to know you're tuning in. I think the sort of commonality, if you like, of these previous meetings is that Durham have kind of pulled away in the fourth quarter. We spoke about the attrition and the fitness of such a small squad such as the Braves. Hewitt Jacob watching on a beach in Wales. A beach in Wales? Supporting Sam Parks. Hang on, you're watching on a beach in Wales?
There are beaches.
I know there
in
are
Wales.
beaches, but I'm currently stood here with my suit on and my woolly hat, my gloves and my jacket.
That's because you're not made of tougher stuff.
Anyway, SM Vans watching from Houston, Texas. Good to have you on board. Get in touch with us with the hashtag the hashtag Unibowl. Let us know where you're watching currently, who you're supporting. Big shout out to Tom Hartley, number 31 for Durham. Do us proud. Thanks, Alex S. Christian. Fee Cormac. Double coverage, more biased than Fox News. So thank you very much. The reason for that is, number one, we are not double coverage. And number two, we very much go on the information that we are sent from the squads when we put out our research package at the beginning of each week. And unfortunately, Durham haven't provided us with any information. So at the moment, we're doing our best from the research that we have got together. But we have been sent significant amounts from the Derby Braves. And as a result, that is really all we're able to comment on. As the second half gets underway here, it's six ways. And that ball will bounce through the back of the end zone. As there's a little bit of handbags in the middle there, and comes to nothing, and Durham will take over. 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Yeah, our purpose here, George, and I know you'll agree, onside, is just to grow the game and to try and be as unbiased as possible. We're here purely for the promotion of the game, and we will do our very best to ensure that happens. But again, we do rely heavily on the contributions and the support from each of the teams. So, second half action about to get underway. First down, Durham. Poindexter hands off to Anderson. Anderson makes a nice move around the left end and picks up close to first down yardage on the opening play of the second half. Tight formation there, one receiver to the right and no receivers out left, which basically means, oh, there's that receiver, just off screenshot there, 2 receivers out to the left. But they pull away those Braves defenders significantly enough. Second down, 1st down and 10 again for the Saints. So Anderson again on the carry on first down, picks up 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8 upcoming. A score here for Durham would distance themselves and put what may well be significant space between the outfit from the northeast, as Anderson again goes on a barreling run and once again should have enough to pick up for first down for the Saints. Yeah, so in such a tight game, if they could add, at least if they had a touchdown to the board, that 10-point lead could be significant. So we've just been informed of a switch on the Durham roster at half-time. Number 8 and number 61 have switched positions, or switched jerseys rather. So Isaiah Pinson now will be playing 61 as Poindexter drops back and he looks and then sees that space open up in front, takes off for another first down into Braves territory to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, running most of that receivers on what looked like vertical routes, and really in that sort of man coverage deep zone that Derby were playing, just opens it up. The defensive backs all step back, and the space behind that defensive line opens up.
And Poindexter did that really well. He obviously dropped back, sold the pass, and he could tell that his receivers were covered, and therefore took that decision, seeing the linebackers and safeties drop off.
Yeah, sometimes good coverage can work against you. In that example,
Poindexter again dropping back. He's got a man out. This is Daigle. Daigle makes the first man miss, and he's dragged out of bounds. Dragged out of bounds by Josh Fagan, number 27 for the Braves. Making that first man miss is so important. And there it is. And Fagan drags him out. And I think there was
what looked like a block in the back, right in front of the official's face. And I think that's what Coach Hackshaw was getting a bit uppity about on that sideline.
So as nothing is called, it's 2nd and 3. Maybe 4, looking at where that down marker is positioned. 2nd and 4 for Durham. And now there is a flag.
Delay against the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
So delay game on the offense.
Morgan Dodson stood for the Braves at defensive back. The top end of the screen.
As this time the ball is handed off, and another good run by Fernando de Paz Figueres. And that should be enough for a first down. So 3rd and short for the Saints. Once again knocking on the door, only 30 yards away. And Poindexter pulls the ball, and he's got loads of room out to the right. He eludes one man, and Brown is there to push him out of bounds just outside the 10-yard line. So worrying times at the start of this second half for the Braves. An effective drive for the Durham Saints.
And it's
touchdown.
Like it is a score.
It is indeed, and that is number 16 for Durham. That's Donovan Swainpole. Nice reception.
Yeah,
As again, Poindexter drops back. He's got bags of time, arcs the ball into the end zone, and great concentration in the back of the end zone for that score.
Yeah, well lofted ball to that point where the DBs can't grab it, but the receivers can.
So 9-0 now in favour of Durham, and that could be significant in such a low scoring encounter.
And that will make the score Durham 10, Derby 0.
So Durham will be buoyed by that after throwing that interception late in the first period. The ball is obviously chipped up and over for that conversion. That will buoy the Durham contingent and make it all the more difficult for the Derby Braves to get back into this one. So Durham get ready to kick off once again. And the kick is a high kick, and that may well drift out of bounds. It does. So Derby catch a break straight away. And let's see if Troy Jackson can capitalise on what will be decent field position for the Braves. As ever, tweet us, #Unibowl, get in touch. We've got quite a wide range and international audience at the moment. We've got a
legal procedure, kick off out of bounds on the kicking team. Receiving team elects to take the ball 30 yards from where it was kicked, first down.
We have a decent amount of people in the crowd here. There's the hashtag for you to get in touch with us. We've got people in the States, we've got people in Europe, we've got people in South Africa, we have people all over the globe currently tuning in to what is living up to being a really intriguing Premiership final. Jackson switches outside and he gets the ball out to his receiver, and Curtis Cannon catches the ball, picks up 6 yards, and then it's clattered.
Yeah, it was an absolutely clonking hit.
Cody Daniels with the tackle, and good to see both boys jumping up and high-fiving each other in appreciation of that particular play. 2nd and 4 for the Braves, just inside their own 40-yard line. Good inside handoff that time. And that looks like Ogundana again. And Ogundana gets up squiggling as if he's not happy with somebody, and it's number 61. And I think obviously now they've switched shirts. See if we can see what happens there at the bottom of that pile. Nothing really untoward particularly, but you can see Ogundana squiggling.
There was a little kick there. There was a little flick.
That's Isaiah Pinson again.
And I know Derby's mentioned this to the officials, but whether they're looking out for it's a different matter.
So those two seem to be coming together quite frequently on 3rd and 1, and Jackson hands the ball off, and there is the first down. Nice inside run once again from the Braves. That's that man again, Ogundana. And Derby do now begin to get some momentum as the Braves contingent in the stands on the far side make themselves heard. Troy Jackson, first down. Derby, 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Ball handed off again, and this time it's Curtis Cannon with the carry.
Yeah, and there was some real heavy running there. His lids actually popped off in the process, but he managed to get a truck in there as well. Strong running.
Has to come off the field due to the removal of his helmet. The 2nd down and 4, Derby. Can the Durham defense hold, or will Derby manage to get back into this one as Jackson looks to his left and finds Verlin for another first down. Nice, quick throw and grab.
Yeah, just moving the chains. The offensive line's adjustments over the half-time period clearly working. A little less pressure on Troy Lee Jackson.
First down again. You would think for this game as a spectacle, if Derby could find a way into the end zone on this one, it would make it a little more competitive and obviously get Durham beginning to think a little more. As Jackson has trips to the right this time. He's got Taylor Brown to the right as well, and he pitches it, and Taylor Brown finds a seam, and he finds another seam, and he steps, and then he drops the ball. The ball gets popped out, and I do think Taylor Brown managed to jump on it just at the end, and there's another flag.
There is a flag.
Taylor Brown very fortunate to come up with that one.
Yeah, that was a fumble or touchdown, I think.
So Taylor Brown again doesn't ever seem to be accelerating, and yet he moves very fast, and as he cuts back here, I think the ball just slips out, and he wrestles.
Play was over. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 74, half distance to the goal line, automatic first down.
That's caught on Alex Attia, and it was, I think, possibly Robert Daigle who was nearly on that Taylor Brown fumble. But what a turnaround. Games are won and lost on decisions like that. Can the Braves capitalise, or can, with a short field, the Saints become a stingy defence? First and goal, Derby on the Saints 10-yard line.
Yeah, Taylor Brown nearly getting that score then if he'd just held that ball.
Tight formation, two receivers both sides. Brown in the background. It's a pitch to Brown again, and he likes that same idea, but he's met by an absolute swarm of Saints. He doesn't pick up much, if anything. It'll be second and goal.
I feel like it might be a gospel of Saints. I don't know.
Taylor Brown leaves the field.
Much better outside containment there from the Durham defense that time, though.
Tell you what, George, it looks beautiful on that far sideline in the sun.
Yeah, and we get stuffed up here in the cold.
I tell you.
I don't know.
If it was raining, I wouldn't be moaning, but it's not.
It never rains when we're here.
It doesn't. It's always beautiful when we're here. It's always sunny in Worcester. So, second and goal for Jackson and the Braves. Three receivers to the left. Ogundana to the left. But he comes back, takes the ball to the right, picks up a couple.
Well shut down again there by Durham.
How quick has this third period gone as well? 4 minutes remaining.
Flying through. But if the ball keeps moving, the clock keeps ticking.
So Jackson now communicating something out to Kieran Watts. Oh no, and that ball is snapped, and that's disaster. But it looks like it's an absolute blessing for the Saints as the Saints recover the fumble. Miscommunication from the centre and the quarterback.
And that is going to be, it looks like number 20 for the Saints, possibly flicking out. That was Matt Bell possibly flicking out at an official.
The centre for the Braves coming off distraught, his teammates trying to console him. Obviously Jackson at that point was communicating with Kieran Watts, maybe some sort of audible.
Play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defence number 20, half distance to the goal line, first down.
So it is Saints ball, but they're backed up after that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And the Saints do bend but don't break, and now have the opportunity to drive for a certain game-winning score, I would have thought, with the score at 10-0 with 3 minutes left in the third period. But they're in the shadow of their own goalposts. Let's see if the Braves defense can respond. Poindexter hands the ball off to Anderson, and Anderson is met immediately by Gogo Lamama.
From what I overheard on the sideline, it's actually that big boy's birthday as well. So that's a happy birthday to him, or it was yesterday, 24th of the 3rd. That was yesterday. So a big happy birthday to him.
It was indeed. As the Saints run left with Anderson again, and Anderson, a fantastic run there, will be enough for a Saints first down. So yes, Adoyin Gogo, like you say, his birthday was yesterday, as Anderson, some good power running there. 24th. And actually the O-line coach of the Braves, Joseph, you go for his surname if you want to.
We just call him Big Joe.
Big Joe, we call him.
One of my former guys.
His birthday is actually today.
Yes, I have wished him a happy birthday.
As Poindexter looks to the left, has Daigle, and Daigle picks up 8, maybe 9. And this methodic strategy of the Saints does appear now to be being effective.
Yeah, it just keeps the clock ticking.
So 2nd and 2. Poindexter back to pass, he's under pressure, he rolls, and he's still under pressure, and he escapes 1, 2, 3, and I tell you, for not a very big fella, he runs hard, Poindexter does.
Yeah, that was really nice running there, breaking 1, breaking 2, and then eventually getting wrapped up around about 12 yards down the, well, 6 or 7 yards down the field.
You would think they're coming off the end, may have him on both ends, but he eludes those 2 rushers, and then he eludes 3 more runners before he picks up enough for the first down. So another Saints first down on their 32-yard line. Close to the end of the 3rd period, 1:28 left and counting. Poindexter, bags of time this time, swings it out, and that is just out of the reach of Daigle.
Yeah, good pressure by number 32's Brave. That was Dane Matasokatea again.
There was a moment there where Matasokatea's eyes lit up, a lofted pass to the sideline. Occasionally can result in a pick 6, but it was just too high for everybody. So 2nd and 10. Clock stops, 1:19 to go. Two receivers either side for Poindexter. Anderson alongside him. He looks to Anderson. Now he steps up. He's under pressure, but he escapes again. He's very elusive running out of the pocket, and he runs and gets out of bounds after a gain of 7. Very, very quick feet, good awareness, good vision.
Yeah, just keeps moving that offensive forward.
Look how fast these feet are, though. Looks right, and he sees that man and just doesn't contain that outside enough. And he's away off to the races. 6 yards, 7 yards picked up for a 3rd and 4 opportunity.
And it's those sort of runs that will be draining this defense, and particularly with that small squad, may potentially cause an issue.
And you feel now that the Durham Saints are just finding their rhythm. Calling the right plays at the right time. Poindexter again. He's got an opportunity, he hits Anderson. Anderson cuts. He's going to be close to a first down, but he's marked at least 2 yards short, which will bring up 4th and 2. Big decision for the Saints now. They seem to be moving the ball more effectively, but do they want to risk it, or do they want to play the field position game?
Yeah, there's 25 seconds left of the quarter. And it looks like Poindexter is going to be staying in.
And that is a timeout. Timeout by the Saints. Curious timeout, unless their play clock wasn't going to allow that game clock to run out.
15 seconds.
But nevertheless, gives both teams a chance for a breather. Gives Durham a chance to talk this decision over, which could be a big decision. Derby were moving the ball effectively on their last series until that miscommunication led to the fumble and the recovery by the Saints. So a turnover here could well be beneficial for the Braves, although Taylor Brown's expecting the punting unit to come on as he's standing back at his 25-yard line. And it would appear Poindexter is no longer in that Saints contingent. And indeed, the punter does appear to be on. Let's see if this is going to be as advertised or whether there's going to be any trickery from the Saints. So, what a fantastic punt, and Taylor fair catches it, but it takes a Braves bounce back out to about the 35, and the Braves will take over again with 5 seconds remaining in the third quarter of a close encounter here at Worcester.
Yeah, beautiful punt, nice and high, allowed his coverage to get underneath.
So you may well be following the game with us here alongside today, but this game, along with all the Britball games for the upcoming summer seasons, are also available via ScoreStream. ScoreStream, you can stay up to date with all the scores across the Britball nation. ScoreStream is the worldwide leader in coverage of American football, from youth through to professional across the globe. ScoreStream allows fans to score games, post photos and videos, and chat with other fans. They cover 10,000 games across the planet weekly. So stay up to date with the ScoreStream app or at scorestream.com. Jackson flings the ball out to the left and hits Verling, and Verling catches the ball and is stopped after a pickup of a yard. Brings up 2nd and 9. We mentioned this earlier on, but I still can't believe that ScoreStream, 10,000 games a week.
It's a lot of games, but then how many high schools are there?
Time has expired in the third quarter.
How many high schools are there in America, and college games in South America, Africa?
It's true.
You know, there's plenty. You think how many uni teams are there? 83, somewhere around there. If they're all playing, that's 40 odd games. It soon builds up.
I'll tell you what, lots going on in the UK at the moment as far as American football is concerned. We've obviously we've got the JAG Sevens Cup, which is taking off. We've got the JAGS Academy, which is 3 days of coaching with former NFL coaches and players. You may have seen the VT earlier on with Mark Brunel on there. We've got the GB Lions headed out to Finland for the IFAF European Championship at the end of July. The Lions being seeded 6th, and they'll be playing France and Finland initially. We've got BAFAschools.org trying to promote the game into schools and bring flag football into schools. As Okundana takes the ball on second down for the Braves, picks up about 6, brings up 3rd and short.
Cameron with the big hit there, that thud that you may have picked up on our surrounding mics.
So Okundana there on the replay, real barreling run. Big 3rd down coming up for Derby now. DC double coverage have opened up the opportunity to become a patron through patreon.com. Look into that at patreon.com if you're interested in helping out grow the game, as Taylor Brown takes the ball off to the right, and wow, that's great lateral pursuit there by the Durham defense. Taylor really never had a lane to go through. So lots happening at the moment in the British game. You can see this one, Taylor takes the ball, he's got Okundana out there, but the corner there, it's number 31 for Durham, Tom Hartley, stayed at home, fought off his receiver blocking, and made a fantastic play on Brown to stop him getting that 1st down.
Hartley's had a good game so far.
So once again, 4th down, 10:42 left now in the ball game. In the 2018 National Championship at this BUCS University level, Daigle back deep, and the ball takes a Derby roll and continues to roll, and is touched. It's touched, but I think that came off the back heel of a Derby player. So the Saints will take over once again, and now it's about clock management for the Saints. Yes, they'd like another score on the board, but still 2 scores ahead, 10 minutes. If they can run 3-4 minutes off the clock here at least, it makes it very difficult for Derby to come back and get into this one.
I suspect Durham will start to try and eat the clock. They know their defense is standing strong. That methodical style of play that we've seen in this second half so far, moving the ball, getting a few 1st downs, just draining that clock.
Third quarter stats, or end of the third quarter stats so far. I think these stats pretty much tell you the story. As Poindexter takes the ball on 1st down, hands off to Anderson, and Anderson picks up a couple. Total yards, Braves 111, Saints 233. Poindexter is 11 out of 17 for 133 yards. Jackson's 10 out of 15 for 74 yards. I think the main difference is that rushing yard total. The Saints have just broke 100 yards at the end of the third quarter. The Braves only 37 yards on the ground so far. 1 turnover each. And penalty yards pretty even as well. 46 penalty yards against the Saints, 35 penalty yards against the Braves. As once again Anderson takes the ball up the middle, and we are now running that clock. Both quarterbacks currently untouched. No sacks for either defense. Another third down coming up here for the Saints. The Braves really need a stop here if they hope to respond quickly. Let's see. Poindexter has managed to move the chains with his feet quite frequently when nothing else was on. He's got 2 receivers to his left, a receiver to his right. He hands the ball off this time to Dev, and Dev breaks the tackle, gets through the hole and picks up another Saints first down. 9-12 and counting.
Yeah, and that was some tough running there just up the middle.
Ducks through the first tackle really well, does Anderson. Sniffs the gap out and buries his head, burrowing forward for a first down. So first down, Durham. Inside their own 40-yard line, Poindexter drops back again, looks to his left. He's got a man, he's got Daigle. Daigle comes back to where he caught the ball, and he's taken down almost immediately by Danai Matsukatira. So second down and 6 at the Saints' own 43-yard line. 10-zip, Durham lead. 8 minutes and change left in the fourth.
Just keep looking to move that ball.
Time becoming a real factor now for the Braves' chances this afternoon as Poindexter fakes to his left, throws an arc over the top, and he has got a man deep, and it's a beautiful pass and catch, and steps out of bounds does Jacob Shotton inside the 20-yard line of the Braves.
Becomes somewhat of a favourite target for Poindexter.
Lovely way that he fixes his eyes, fixes the linebackers over to the left to begin with, and then arcs a beautiful pass over the cornerback, outside of the safety, and Shotton brings it in for a big 40-yard pickup.
Yeah, that was dropped into near perfection.
So first down, Saints. A score here would all but seal the championship for this year's Durham Saints when they came so close in last year's final. Ball handed off up the middle, and that's a good run once again, and that's Orem Jones, Samuel Orem Jones for Durham.
Durham really starting to move down fast.
And it does look like that Derby defense is beginning to feel the pressure of such a small squad.
That freight train keeps on rolling.
Will we be seeing 2 shutouts today in national finals? We saw Nottingham defeat UWE 43-0 in the Div 1 trophy final earlier on today here at Worcester. It's currently 10-0 to the Saints, as that same man gets the ball again and he waltzes into the end zone for another Saints score. And that's Samuel Orem Jones, who extends the Durham lead to 16-0 with 7 minutes left in this final period. Now things looking bleak for the Braves.
Yeah, it's a big ask for them to come back from here. They're only 2 scores down at the moment. With this PAT coming up, that would put it into 3. But with the way Durham's defense has played, you would think it's highly unlikely.
And there is the extra point, and the extra point is slotted through to take it to a 3-score game, as you suggest, 17-0 in favour of the Durham Saints. And the problem is, even if Derby do go down the field and score within the next minute or so, obviously they've got to get that ball back off the Durham offense, and they seem to be using that ground game, particularly with Anderson and now Orem Jones, to real great effect. Yes, they may well see that onside kick employed, but now, as we say, they've got to do that twice. Score, score, score is the formula for the Braves. So Durham are definitely in the ascendancy to win that national championship that eluded them last year against the Stirling Klansmen.
Yeah, Derby would have to score very, very quickly.
Almost off a kick return here. That would be an ideal circumstance for Derby if they can bring this one back. Onside kick.
Taylor Brown and Jack Verling at the back, more than capable of doing that.
But that Saints kick coverage team also more than capable of keeping their discipline and making sure that that doesn't happen. The kick is directed to Verling, but Taylor Brown comes across and takes it. He's pinned against his own sideline. He now reverses the field, and he reverses again, and he's got an edge. He has got the edge, and he gets up to midfield, and he's taken down at midfield and run out of bounds by Joseph Partington, number 50 for the Saints.
Yeah, and a huge return.
A lot of lateral running though for about a 20-yard pickup, and there was a moment there where you felt Taylor may well be able to convert that chance he got, but great kick coverage return by Partington to force him out of bounds. Do you expect to see a few deep attempts now from Jackson?
I think you've got to look at getting it back in a few plays rather than one big play. When you start throwing one big play and the defense knows you've got to do that, you're only asking for trouble.
And looking at the Saints defense again, their safeties are pretty close to the line of scrimmage at the minute. Not big cushions being given by any of the DBs. The pressure comes, Jackson steps into the pocket, he goes up top, he's one man against two. And is that caught on the sideline? That is caught by Jack Verling at the 20-yard line.
Oh, and a great catch in double coverage there.
So Mabel life in the Braves yet with 6 minutes and change left.
And that is really putting faith in your receiver from a quarterback perspective there.
Jackson had the poise to hold himself in the pocket, step up into the pocket, and if I'm honest, I thought it was quite an ill-advised throw when the ball left his hands. But then the athleticism of Verling to go up and bring that ball down in between Cody Daniels and Tom Hartley for a biggest play of the afternoon.
Durham, coach's play will be under further review.
So
we'll take it to the box to see if it was caught in bounds.
Nevertheless, gives Derby hope, but this would be a heartbreaker for the Braves if this one was to be overturned. There are sometimes plays like that where you end up, if this does get overturned, you end up just having to almost go, right, this isn't our day. And obviously 17-0 down currently with 6 minutes left. You could argue that it doesn't appear to be Derby's day, but stranger things have happened in football games that we've not only watched but broadcasting over the years. Once again at this stage, coming close to the end of this one, get in touch with us. We still have that opportunity, the hashtag Unibowl. If you want to let us know whether you're rooting for the Braves or the Saints, let us know where you're watching from, how you're enjoying this. Thanks once again to EP Sports.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Completed catch, first down.
So indeed, Verling is credited with making that catch inbounds, and the Braves continue their march to an improbable
challenge for Durham in this half.
Come from behind victory, but still a long way to go. Kieran still seems to be hobbling a little bit, and he's not really been a factor in this game at all this afternoon, Kieran Watts. Ogundana alongside Jackson. Watts flanked out to the left. He looks for Watts, and Watts just can't get there. 2nd and 10. Braves on the Saints 20-yard line. Do you think Watts is running as freely as you've seen him in the past?
It doesn't look quite as quick as he has been in the past.
Probably the right decision there from Jackson. There was a part of me that wondered whether he was going to dump that off to Ogundana, but Ogundana was covered very well in the flats by his opposing linebacker. So 2nd down, clock stopped, which is obviously a bonus for the Braves, with the clock being such a factor. 17-0 down in this National Championship final here at Six Waves Stadium in Worcester. Onside Productions. Jackson flips the ball over, and that's Ogundana with the ball, and he gets close to the sideline, but is tackled in play, and the clock will continue to run. And I'll be honest, that's only picked up a couple. And Ogundana gets up limping. Runs back to the huddle. He looks like he's going to try and run it off. BUCS National Championship Final. Onside Productions with EP Sports. Bringing you coverage today. Live coverage here from Sixway Stadium in Worcester in a sun-bathed national final game to determine the Premiership champion for the British University's American Football 2018 season. Jackson back again, heavy pressure this time, put the ball up, and that is thrown out of bounds as Jackson ends up on his back, but does manage to get the ball off.
That's going to be
the Braves looking for a flag, but nothing coming. Got to be careful there, talking with the officials, not to incite a flag upon yourselves. 4th down. And as much as you think the game is over now, should this one fall short, the game really is over.
Yeah, if they don't at least pick up the first here, you would think that Durham has the capability of just running the clock down.
And Derby called timeout. Prior to that one, obviously the most important play of their season so far.
Timeout by Derby. Their first of the second half at 5:33.
So I've got this breaking play. Just to remind you once again about ScoreStream. Currently, if you go on scorestream.com, you will see this game and the stats and scores being updated. You can stay up to date with all the scores across the Brit Bowl Nation throughout the summer with ScoreStream. Each week, ScoreStream covers roughly 10,000 games, so check out scorestream.com or download the app to stay up to speed with scores across the Brit Bowl Nation. So Derby coming back on this massive 4th down play for them, and you will hear the Durham sideline go nuts should Derby fail to convert on this one. Big discussions taking place in that Braves huddle. So the big playmakers all out there. Taylor Brown split wide right, Jack Verlin and Curtis Cannon join Taylor. Ogundana in the backfield with Jackson and Kieran Watts. And that ball is broken up, and the Durham Saints.
Yeah, it looks like number 50 for the Saints there, the linebacker, Jersey Partington again. With a great diving pass break up there.
And that, people, will be that. Not enough time and too big a deficit for the Derby Braves to come back in this one, you would have thought. Jackson under pressure again. And I think you're right, it was Partington who batted that ball away from Cannon. So, 2 years in a row, the Durham Saints have found themselves at this stage. They narrowly lost out last year to the Stirling Klansmen, but this year have thoroughly deserved, on this evidence this afternoon, to be crowned national champions. Poindexter in the backfield, hands that ball off. New running back this time, and the clock will continue to tick.
Yeah, and I suspect we'll see a lot more of those kind of runs.
That's Luke Dugdale on the carry there for Durham. 5 minutes and change remaining. Once again, as things wind down in this one, just like to thank EP Sports for making today's stream possible with the ongoing support of Joe and his team. Thank BAFA. Obviously all the work they put in on 2nd down as Dugdale gets the carry again. Stopped short. And finally, once again, thanking ScoreStream. Check them out on scorestream.com for all your score updates throughout the upcoming summer season.
Once again, That run not really going anywhere.
Must give a shout out as well to our production crew sat in the trailer. They came down yesterday and rigged everything up. Been down early this morning.
You say sat in the trailer like it's a bad thing, but at least they're warm now.
Well, if you talk to Steve, he'll moan at you and tell you it's not warm, especially with the door of the van open. 3rd and 6 then, Durham. Once again, Dugdale on 3rd and 6, met immediately. And you would think that Durham will be punting this one away as Taylor Brown drops back deep, ready for this one. So yes, once again, our boys at Onside Productions, Steve Matthews, Tom Howe, for getting the show up and running. Our cameramen down here today, Big Alex, and do we give Gary a mention, even though he kept us waiting this morning?
I mean, you know, well, he's turned up, I suppose.
Been bringing you fantastic pictures, Alex and Gary, all afternoon. We've got Nathan as well. Nathan on all the video editing and replays, and as Taylor Brown fields the ball at his 32, and he looks to be in trouble, and he is going to be in trouble, and gets taken down. Great kick coverage there from the Saints. And at the end of that, Taylor does manage to get the ball back up to the 43-yard line. But yeah, I mean, from where we've come as a production company, and from where Steve and Tom have brought the company from 2.5, 3 years ago in a field on a leisure centre in Nottingham, to now covering national finals at university and the Britball level, branching out to other ventures such as the ice hockey that you were commentating on back in the in February.
Yeah, that was a very enjoyable evening.
Local football teams with the Community FA Community Cup that we're covering as well. It's really going from strength to strength, and I'm proud to be part of this venture, and hopefully will continue to be so in the future. So Jackson drops back again, and he's got a man, and he's got that man Verlin again out to the right. And is Verlin brought down inbounds, or let's see what the official signal is. I think that looks like he's brought down out of bounds. So good work from Verlin to make the catch and manage to get out of bounds. You'd think any scores right now would be a consolation score for the Braves.
Yeah, but it would be nice to finish this game with a score on the board. They've been competitive throughout. It's difficult that the 3 scores down, but
Taylor Brown at this part of the game, it's conspicuous by his absence, and he's actually on the ground at the minute as they look for Watts again, and Watts really struggling to get any acceleration out of his cuts today. So 2nd down. Like to thank all the people here at Six Ways for once again being such fantastic hosts. Our sort of second home from home now, George.
It's getting that way. I'm debating whether we need to paint this box and make it a round.
Is this 3 times, 4 times we've been down here now?
4, I would think, at least 4, yeah.
So yes, we've done the 2 British Universities finals, we've done the Britball finals last year, and also we did the GB women's game a couple of years back, 2016. As Jackson looks to the sideline again, Taylor Brown catches the ball, but catches it out of bounds.
It was a wonderful diving grab. He was unfortunate there not to catch it inbounds. Couldn't quite get that leg down.
Jackson again with time, and no, he can't indeed on the sideline. Very athletic play once again.
Great coverage though by Durham.
We'll be back from an American football point of view with Onside Productions later this season as we cover the Nottingham Caesars and the Leicester Falcons this year in action.
Yeah. Mr. Kersey is floating around the stands today.
As Jackson drops back again, he looks over the top and he's got a man, and that man has caught the ball, and that is Curtis Cannon, who got behind his defender, catches that football inside the 20-yard line, inside the 10-yard line for 1st and goal Derby.
Yeah, Cannon's had a good game today.
Curtis Cannon, 40 rushing attempts and 400 yards on the season with 4 touchdowns to his name. Finds himself in the slot receiver position at the minute. A high snap, and Jackson puts the ball up, and it is caught in the end zone by Jack Verlin for the first Derby score of the afternoon, and you have to say what should well be a consolation score, but as you said earlier, nice for Derby to not leave empty-handed.
Yeah, I mean, there's still 2 minutes left. I would be going for 2 here, personally. But see if they go for that onside kick. If they recover it, you never know.
Jackson did well there to take that snap that ended up being pretty high. And a nice slant pattern there from Verlin, catching the ball with the safety, or the cornerback defender at least, behind him. Threaded the ball well from Grandpa Jackson.
Took a menacing hit as well as he released that football. Oh, and it's blocked.
And with all, to all intents and purposes, really, still need 2 scores anyway. So let's see what Derby do come out doing. And great to see the intensity still from the Durham Saints coming through to block an extra point, knowing that all these points are vital, and knowing that with the nature of this sport, anything can and does happen. So, Derby come out onto the field. Very much a hands team out there. We've got Brown, we've got Watts. You'd expect Verlin to be out there as well. Cannon's jogging back out onto the field now. In fact, Verlin still finds himself down on the sideline, I think. Reliably informed that he's just taken leave of his lunch as well.
It's a nice way to put that.
I didn't really want to put it how I'd been told from my producer, but yeah. So just shows the commitment to the game from these players. Now, Cannon here with the kickoff. It does appear that it's going to be an onside. You've got Taylor and Watts and Ogundana, and
he's going to chip it.
All the hands guys on that side of the field.
Oh.
And that is a bobbler, but it is well recovered by the Saints.
Yeah, well taken.
And 2 minutes 10 left in this game, and you would think that that would be that. 1 first down here definitely would put this game away.
Looked like he was going to try and chip that into the air a little bit and see if someone could get underneath it.
Is it something you practice much of, onside kicks? I never did, particularly when I was head coaching.
Well, you always hope that you're going to be on the recovering side, don't you? I suppose we've practiced it once or twice, but special teams is an important part of the game, and you know, if you can recover it, every time, you'd be away, wouldn't you?
I tell you what, as well, this surface doesn't really lend itself to an onside kick.
No, that's why I was thinking he may chip it into the air.
Yeah. As Anderson gets the carry on first down, and he's met after a pickup of 2.
And that will tick the clock away down to the 2-minute warning.
So stay with us after this one. We'll pop down for our post-game show with Rose and our guest from today.
2-minute warning, 2 minutes remaining in the game.
Our guest from today, Phil Dumont, long-time Brickball coach, currently running backs coach with the OBU Panthers, and Andrew Morgan, offensive coordinator with the University of Birmingham Lions, part of the GB.
Perhaps a head coach in the making.
Indeed, part of the GB.
With Wayne's retirement, shall we put it?
GB Lions crew as well, Coach Morgan, and Joe Walker, who started coaching at age 22 with Derby University. As there's a little inside toss play there. I know.
22, is that it? Oh, I was 19.
I know you were. That's because you realised you wouldn't really have it as a player.
Well,
and you had a bad back.
We'll go with the
and
back.
And a bad head and a bad couldn't leg and couldn't catch and couldn't run.
We'll go with the back injury.
The back injury.
I was quick. Chasing down.
Time out.
So yeah, Joe Walker, who started coaching at 22 with Derby, and he's coached with the GB Lions. My apologies, Mr. Referee, I've just talked all over the top of you there. Joe Walker started coaching with the GB Lions, the adults and the students. Coached at Loughborough University, Canterbury, Christchurch University Chargers, and with the Tamworth Phoenix. He's currently the head of coaching development with American Football Development Limited. So, get their thoughts on the game. We will, George and I, hopefully then get down to the field to possibly bring you an interview or two before we wrap up today's proceedings, as Anderson looks like he's getting the carry, and then Poindexter is taken down by Taylor Brown. When a safety's making a tackle in the backfield, you know he's got some heart.
Yeah, he's not giving up.
Timeout called by Derby. Their third and final at 1:39.
So with 1:40 left on the clock, 4th and 8, Durham will pin Derby back.
Still doable.
I love your optimism. I think it's unfounded, but I love your optimism.
Well, you always call me Mr. Negativity.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. And the Braves supporters still making some noise over on the far side, bathed in sunshine on that main stand. The punt is up. Brown lets this bounce and is going to try and return it. Oh, but gets clobbered, and that's a ferocious tackle by Durham's own number 2, Cody Daniels. And Taylor Brown does feel the force of that and is very slow to get up. But he is up.
Yeah, he's hurting, but not injured.
And 1:31 left. We mentioned about Durham and the ascendancy in the latter stages of the game, and there's a flag on the far side of the field currently. And it has proved that way today, being 3-0 up at the half. They've scored 14 second half points. And there's got to be something in that squad size that Derby have come in here carrying. Let's listen to the officials for this latest flag.
During the return, personal foul, tripping, return team number 26, half distance from the end of the kick, first down.
I know you got him.
And that's Simeon Okonto-Wariso called for the tripping violation. So, just the 96 yards to go for the Braves.
It's 4 less yards than it was with 100, but that is Taylor Brown. You may have caught on the bottom of your screen limping off. He is hurting.
And I think probably hurting emotionally as well as physically after taking that hit from Daniels.
He wants back on.
And we hear the Saints fans now in fine voice, knowing that they're moments away from securing this championship. Jackson hits Cannon on the sideline, and Cannon picks up maybe 3 yards on first down. Out of bounds with 1:25 left to play this afternoon.
Yeah, gets his back away from the end zone though.
Should you wish to re-watch the stream of today's games, they will be available on YouTube. More than likely from tomorrow. If you're a Saints fan, or if you're a University of Nottingham fan and you want to relive your team's championship drive as Jackson drops back again, throws that ball and it is caught by Cannon again on the sideline. Nice toe drag.
Yeah, wonderful grab there by Cannon.
Out of bounds again, takes 5 seconds off the clock. So yes, these streams will be available, as are all our other content that we've put together over the last 2.5, 3 years with Onside Productions. If you're interested in Onside covering your event, and get in touch at weareonside.com. Go to the website, all the details will be there for you to get in touch, and maybe we'll be working for you one day as Jackson drops back again and looks and hits. Is that Brown? Can't see, may well be Verling from there. I think Verling, it is. No, it may well have been Taylor Brown.
Caught the ball.
Taylor Brown again limps up and stays inbound. No timeouts remaining, so that clock continues to run. 2nd and 5. Under a minute to play in the national title game for the BUCS 2018 season as Jackson drops back, takes a vicious hit, and Verling can't bring that one in.
Verling clobbered from behind that.
Jackson clobbered as well. Real great example of standing in the pocket, delivering the ball, knowing that you're going to take a hit. Great coverage again by Robert Daigle. Again, another player who's been on both sides of the ball for the Saints, offense and defense.
3rd and 6, 45 seconds remaining.
Daigle again, special teams, punt returner, kick returner for the Durham Saints. Troy Jackson, we'll see a little bit later in the summer, along with Kieran Watts and Taylor Brown for the Leicester Falcons. And he finds Cannon again on the sideline for a first down, stopping the clock.
Cannon's 3rd catch on this drive so far. Keeps moving that ball. Need to be moving it more than 5 or 6 yards to play though.
So, 40 seconds remaining. We will join Rose and the team down on the sideline for our post-game show at the conclusion of this one. As Jackson drops back to pass again, pressure coming, gets hit again, and that one falls just out of Verlin's glance.
And there is a flag on the play in the backfield. Maybe roughing the passer or an unsportsmanlike conduct.
Looks like, well, it's definitely going to be against the Saints.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defence, number 61, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Unfortunately, Isaiah Pinson has had his name called again, and there's been particular needle between Pinson and a number of the Braves players this afternoon. Ogundana took issue with some of what he was doing earlier in the game.
Poindexter on defense now.
Indeed.
For the Durham Saints.
Starting quarterback, lining up at cornerback, covering Kieran Watts out here. Taylor Brown this side as well. His defender, James Spicer, giving him a lot of respect as Jackson drops back. Jackson looks for Brown, and it's broken up by Poindexter.
Yeah, wonderful break up there. Almost got the one-handed pick.
So casual as well.
I know.
Fine athlete, Poindexter. Great poise in the pocket. Delivered some beautiful passes this afternoon to help Durham secure this title.
Breaking up a well-placed pass there.
Second and 10, Braves. 31 seconds left in this fourth period. Eking out the last rays of sunshine on the first day of British summertime down here at Six Ways. High snap again that Jackson manages to grab, and that's over Watts' head, significantly over Watts' head, and there's another penalty. And I think...
And that will be, the second one will certainly be on 76 for the Braves.
I think you're
Sam
right.
Parks, but...
First one could well be on Dwayne Cameron for the Saints, and if they are both unsportsmanlike, they will offset.
There are fouls on both teams. The personal foul and late hit, number 7 on the defence, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 76 on the offence. Those penalties offset. Replay second down.
So, Kieran Watts out to the line of scrimmage already, but he's not looked comfortable all afternoon. Has been an absolute non-factor in this one today.
No, it does look like they may be carrying something niggling at him, but...
Second and 10, Derby. Inside their own territory on the 44-yard line. Jackson with receivers left and right, and he gets the ball out into Taylor Brown's hands, and Taylor Brown looks to try and get something going, and he's tackled. He's not tackled, he's actually tackled out of bounds. It was very well to get out of bounds.
It does well to get out of bounds.
After a pickup of 2.
A lot of strength shown there.
Great swarming defense again, though, from that Saints. Right to the death. Not wanting to give anything away. Third and 7, Braves. The waning moments of the BUCS National Championship for the Premiership this year. Excuse me. Jackson drops back again, puts the deep ball up. He's looking for Verlin, and Verlin, it's a great pick. Well played. Daigle tips that ball onto Cody Daniels, and with 7 seconds left, 9 seconds in fact, Durham will kneel this one out.
Yeah, it's going to be a Saints victory here.
I don't think that was really in any doubt once they went 17-0 ahead. And they do deserve this afternoon. They've been a little more the efficient of the two teams. They've made the plays when it counted. Nice to see the Derby fans still cheering. The Durham champions banner is brought out on the far side in the crowd. It's being brought down to the sideline by some excited Durham fans. Long way for them to travel from the northeast today, and they deserve this win this afternoon against the Derby Braves. As Poindexter takes a knee.
Their redemption is complete.
Time has expired. That's the end of the game.
And that is time in this afternoon's game from Six Ways. Our final score in the BUCS National Championship 2018. The Durham Saints are crowned winners over the Derby Braves by a score of 17-6. We'll hand down to our sideline crew, Rose, with our guests for the post-game show.
Now we need the police out there to separate them.
Yeah, I see 15 and 61 are going to have a fight.
Oh gosh, sorry, yeah, we're just watching the end of the game unravel. A huge congratulations to Durham Saints on that win. They really managed to hold on. Guys, what did you make of that second half?
I think that it was a little bit similar to the end of the first half. Derby had chances to score, they would drive the ball, and then when it got to the crunch, Durham would just hold up. They were bending, they bent, they didn't break, and that's what it was. It was too much for them to come back to at the end.
Key pivotal moment in the fourth quarter. Early in the fourth quarter, Derby was about at the 4-yard line, and they coughed up the ball, fumbled it. You can't do that when you're 2 touchdowns down.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. That when you're in a key situation like that, you're in the red zone. You need to get points when you're 10 points down, and they came away with nothing. Due to a miscommunication error on the snap. That's a challenging situation to be in.
And the play before that, Taylor had a cutback lane, he was running the ball, he fumbles it, and then that would have been a touchdown, and it just changed the complexion of the game, really.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the stats, you've got more completed passes on the Saints than you do the Braves. The Braves attempted 35 and only managed to complete on 20, whereas the Saints, they only attempted 19, but they completed on 13. So I mean, I think that's quite a big factor, the fact that they don't make mistakes.
No, and one of the adjustments that Durham's tight end went and played left tackle in the second half, or right tackle, sorry, and they just left tackle. They just ran behind him. He was absolutely dominant at the point of attack. They ran the ball. I think their first scoring drive, I don't think they threw the ball, they just ran. They had the QB option. The last scoring drive, it was lots of runs. There was the one deep ball down the sideline. They just dominated at the point of attack, and they just ran the ball really, really well.
That's what it came down to, just that Durham, when they made a mistake, Derby couldn't capitalize on it. But saying that, Derby did put together a good fight. You know, they were fighting to the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw it. They went for the onside kick. They went to try and get that possession back. They wanted that extra score. I mean, they probably wouldn't have made much difference in terms of them winning it, but it would have made the difference in terms of the way they come away from feeling after this game.
And the thing we said in the pre-game was Derby's Americans are going to play both ways. Like Taylor couldn't walk by the end. Yeah. Like Kyron was broken as well. They were going both ways. They gave everything they had. It was just too much to do when you're playing offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah,
really challenging. I think you can look at the rushing yards in that game and see that Derby really struggled to move the ball on the ground. They did better in the second half, and they started to move that ball, but just really not having a run game that was as competitive as Durham's was something that let them down a little bit.
And how many passes was it for Derby? 35.
So yes,
yeah, 35 attempts.
But
how many of those were?
Like you said, with the rushing yards, we got Saints 118, Braves 37. Like that's a huge difference.
Yeah, massive.
And when Derby were trying to pass the ball, there was so much pressure consistently on in his face. There were so many throws that were off target because he just couldn't set. He couldn't read the field and couldn't complete the pass.
But again, a lot of the Derby incompletions are down to dropped balls as opposed to just bad passes. So that made a big difference as well.
Yeah, so I think we are about wrapped up. So thank you guys for joining, and thanks everyone for watching. I think we're going to head back to George and Matt after a short break.
So, welcome back. Quick scoot down to the sideline, George.
Yes, yeah, still getting dressed.
I think at this point pertinent to thank our guests this afternoon. Thank Andrew and thank Joe and Coach Dumont. Not that Andrew's not a coach and Joe's not a coach as well, but nevertheless, good to have their views and their input. This afternoon.
Absolutely. Some very experienced guys there. Joe and Andrew, guys that I know. But, some great views to have. So.
Also need to thank Rose, obviously, for her input and her production skills and the presenting that she did in the interviewing. So good to have Rose on board, and obviously DC as well. All around another good day at the office.
Yeah, I think the boss man may be a little bit stressed.
No, he doesn't get stressed.
No, I think he's doing okay.
So on reflection then, let's just talk about this game first. Durham deserving of that win?
Yeah, I think so. I think the defence played outstanding football all day. I think maybe it could have been different if Derby had the numbers. I think fatigue definitely got to them in that latter third of the game. I think Durham deserved it.
Some big plays on both sides of the ball. Fantastic from Dev Anderson, running back for the Saints. Equally, very impressed by Poindexter. His footwork, the accuracy of the delivery of the ball, and I think that was the difference. The big plays for, as well as the defence, the big plays for the Saints just slightly outmatched the big plays.
Yeah,
for
and I think they were a bit more consistent with what they did, moving the chains on pretty much every drive. I mean, I know Derby stuffed them in the first half, but they continued to move that ball, particularly in the second half. The clock just kept rolling down, and they just looked a bit more poised.
Let's put this in perspective a little bit. You've seen Derby collecting their runners-up trophies, the runners-up medals. Put it in perspective. At Christmas, Derby hadn't won a game, and they've now gone on that run with Coach Hackshaw and that coming together, and to actually make this game today is an absolute, a real. Well, it's just testament to the work that Coach Hackshaw has brought in and the belief he's brought into that team.
Yeah, I think Derby, every praise for them to be here today. I think if you'd have asked any of them at the Christmas break, they were battling for relegation to stay out of that relegation zone between Loughborough, who have subsequently dropped. But for them to stand here today, it's the first Premiership final they've been to. I know Jojo, who we were talking to before the game, he was stoked. He couldn't even be on the sideline. He wasn't allowed, but he was buzzing, and I know a few of the guys were as well. So.
And for Durham, as you mentioned up just before we came down, that redemption word.
Yeah, I mean, this time last year we were stood here, the Scots were screaming. Bad snap, all went wrong at the worst possible time. And here they are today, came back, no real mistakes, none big enough to recall anyway. And they, like you say, they just look confident, they look poised, they look relaxed. It helps probably that they've not had any playoff games to play. It's not their fault, but they just look the better team today.
And so, as we await the Durham Saints as they now begin their walk up to collect their winners' medals and subsequently the National Championship trophy for 2018. Your thoughts generally on the both games we saw today? It's been a real good day, even though a little bit one-sided initially. And this one,
I mean, the second game was certainly a great advocate for the university game. A wonderful game to watch. It was close. It was what people like to see. Perhaps the first game, Bullets versus Nottingham, Bullets were somewhat outgunned. But we knew that coming in. Most people did. Nottingham, full of scholar athletes, talented players. Pat Daly, one of British own, and he's doing wonderful things. It was his last year. He wanted it. And I think perhaps whilst it was a great first couple quarters, I think it shows the separation, the margin between certain teams, and particularly in the uni leagues. From what we've seen this year, there seems to be a far better calibre of player in the northern conferences than there are in the south. As you'll note, all the semi-final games were between northern teams this year for the Premiership, which is saying something.
We come to the end of the British University season, and just around the corner is the Brit Ball season rather.
Yes.
And obviously I know you're involved with that with the Nottingham Cedars Juniors and teams all around the country in the middle of pre-season schedules at the moment. What's in store this year then? Obviously last year we had the Tamworth Phoenix who rose from the ashes and defeated the Blitz.
Yeah, I mean that was quite something. I think we'll see something from Manchester. I think Manchester have a phenomenal setup, certainly off-field setup. They've got some great players, and I think they could do things. I really do. We'll see the old Warhounds, the old War Dogs, East Kilbride and Sheffield, and doing what they need to do, no doubt. But I think Manchester could be a bit of an underdog that nobody's quite expecting. I think Tamworth will have a solid season. I don't think there's any doubt. Obviously, they've got these European games coming up.
Absolutely.
I know Coach Scott was excited to be doing that.
And so, as you can see on the monitor there, on the screen, all it really remains here is to watch and bask as Poindexter there gets the MVP trophy.
Yeah, and rightly so. He had a phenomenal game. Even that casual pass deflection at the end. Phenomenal athlete.
Well, the fact, like we say, that he not only looked a real secure, real quality quarterback, he then comes in and makes DB look easy. And your national champions for 2018 are the Durham Saints. And I know everybody in the Northeast will be going crazy at those pictures and at what that means to those guys who have made that long journey down from Durham. Great pictures.
They've had a great season. People will say things about them, no doubt. You're full of scholars, you're full of this, that, and other. But ultimately, they've done what they needed to do, and they're here. They've redeemed themselves. It's a championship title for them to take back up north.
So, another BUCS Uni Ball season comes to an end. We've already mentioned about the Brit Bowl season. We'd be remiss of me not to ask, how are things looking with the juniors in Nottingham?
It's a young squad this year, rookie squad. Much like the uni season, we have the transitions of players fairly frequently, so we'll just see what comes of it.
So here at Worcester, we have great scenes behind us of celebrations, commiserations to the Derby Braves who have gone over to meet their fans, their loyal fans, and they were cheering all the way to the end. We're going to be back very soon, once again, with another onside production, both on the gridiron, but also who knows where else this wonderful journey might take us. My thanks to George, as always.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a wonderful experience as ever. Fun to share the commentary booth with you. We will leave you now with the scenes of the victorious Durham Saints enjoying their 2018 championship winning season. Thank you from all of us here at Onside Productions. We will bid you a farewell. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.